A recovering alcoholic named Jack Torrance has been charged with taking care of the Overlook Hotel during the harsh Colorado winter. His wife Wendy and son Danny are along for the ride, but the sense of isolation, coupled with the hotel's angry spirits, drive Jack into a psychotic frenzy. Wendy and Danny are in danger, and the hotel is after Danny's special psychic power, known as the Shining. I'm Connor Eyzaguirre,
And I'm Caleb J.
and this is Filmgazm. Welcome to the 5-year anniversary of the Filmgazm Podcast. Goddamn, time really does fly when you're having fun. The Shining was the first episode of the show. It premiered March 4th, 2019, and it was just me, nervous as hell and devoid of a team. I listened to it recently, and it's awkward. It reminded me of like those dating videos that people would do in the 80s where they're like talking to a camera about like, hello, my name is Connor and I love horses and walks on the beach and shit like that. Like just awkward, not really knowing what to talk about because you're not having a conversation, you're talking to yourself.
Those old school dating shows. What
Yeah.
does contestant number two like to do when they're free on a Friday night? Well, I like to read and stay inside. He
Yeah.
sounds exciting.
It was 41 minutes of me basically trying to convince you, please listen to my show. It was just me. I didn't have anybody else yet. Um, I managed to get Austin to come on board full time. You were on a boat, so you were unavailable, and we hadn't figured out how to do the Skype Zoom thing yet. So it was like if you're not in here in this apartment, you can't do the podcast. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and then we
Pandemic
figured
helps with Zoom.
yeah,
Pandemic helps with Zoom for pretty much everyone.
yeah. Honestly, without COVID, I'm sure we would have gotten there eventually, but we've done almost every episode since then exclusively on Zoom, even if we're in the same city. It's just easier. But yeah, we got Josh came on board and Colton eventually, and Adam and Jeremy and Mysia and all the people we've lost along the way, which is several for various reasons. But we've got a good solid team now, and in total, we've delivered 690 episodes of several different iterations of the Filmgazm podcast since I did it on March 4th, 2019. Uh that's fucking awesome. We've been at this for so long. We've done so many movies. We've tried different ways of doing this show. Today's episode is number 10 of the latest and greatest version, which I'm the most proud of since I think we finally figured it out. It took a while, but this is the show I've always wanted to host, and we got it. So we're gonna keep doing it this way. And obviously, we had to do The Shining again for the 5-year. No other film would do. So
You had to do the shine again. This is finally my time to shine.
that's true. We did this on Austin and I did this on the 2-year anniversary episode in 2021 or 2020. And or tw- I think my math might be
I
off.
was on deployment when you did it then. That's why I wasn't there for
So,
it.
so that was 2020. Yeah.
Yes.
So it was the 1-year anniversary. Clearly I can't math that well. But yeah. And now you finally get to talk about this movie, which is, one of the greatest horror films of all time and a perfect film to just discuss for this very important milestone for us that I'm very, very glad you could be here to talk about with me.
Yeah, I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, me too. Very happy to be here. So, what what is your history with The Shining? Can you remember the first time you ever saw this?
No, no, I'm kidding. Yes. What if I just start like shutting everything down? No, no.
You just pull a Billy Bob Thornton and just give me one word answers because I pissed you off.
Yeah, I'm Joaquin Phoenix doing I'm still here publicity. Um,
Oh,
oh God, never sent that goddamn thing again. No, so when I first was getting into Stephen King in general, so really this kind of starts with the book before the movie. I even saw this movie. Um, And my first Stephen King book was It. Of all the books to pick, I don't know why I picked that one. It's over 1,000 pages, has a train sequence and not the one you're thinking of. A different one that I still think King needs to stop justifying for Christ's sakes. It's a weird saying. Um, but that was my first book. And then I would pick more up. I became very familiar with the Stephen King section or in the library in our small town. And one of the first, like I think two books I got from them was Pet Sematary and Shining. Um, because I want to say Pet Sematary for sure, Shining. So I remember getting that. It was one of the older editions of the book anyway. And I remember I just devoured that book. I just fell in love with the book and thought it was really good. And my dad happened to notice I was reading it one day, and he's like, "Hey, they have a movie based off it." He goes, "It's really good. Let me know when you finish it. We'll rent it because the video stores is how I guess I'm dating myself now. The local video store in the town had it on like I think they had only a VHS copy or a DVD. I forget which, but I know they had it. So I finished it. I finished it real quick. And he's like, okay, let's go. And I went, we rented the movie and minus him having to cover my eyes during the fucking, the ghost in the room scene. Um, I remember just being like, oh shit, this is wow, this is good. And I remember thinking like this is I had like conflicting thoughts because I was like, I just read the book, so I'm like, this is nothing like what I just read. What the fuck? But at the same time, I was like, this is really fucking good. Like, whoa, and it's creepy and like I just fell in love. It's like it's one of the rare cases, and I agree with the stance on Mick Garris, who actually did the miniseries years later with Stephen King, has always stated, and I agree with it, it's a terrible adaptation. One of the worst adaptations ever made, but it's a fucking fantastic Kubrick film. Like, I was like, so it's like that's when people go like on one end, it's like, oh God, this adaptation's trash, but like, God damn, it's a good movie. It's a really good movie. So yeah, I've been in love with it since I saw it. My dad told me that challenge of like finish the book, watch the movie, see what you think. And I've been in love with it since.
That's awesome. I'm glad you did it, quote unquote, the right way. I didn't. I saw the movie years before I read the book. Uh, when I was first getting into horror, I think it was either my uncle or my mom who showed this to me. I was still kind of like hesitant to watch a lot of horror movies because I did not like the feeling of being scared, and I knew that certain movies were going to do that to me. And The Shining, yeah, I was unnerved. I was like, this is creepy. I don't know how I feel about this. And I ended up really liking it. And then a few years later, I decided to start reading Stephen King, and The Shining was the first book of his that I read. I got it from I think it was my middle school library, which I don't know why they had King, but they did. And I read The Shining and thought, this is different. Jack's a lot more sympathetic here. Like it was it was interesting. And I had to kind of backtrack the movie and be like, hmm, not yeah, I was like, this isn't a very good adaptation, but it's it's lightning in a bottle as a film. It really is. Uh it's weird because I'm so gung ho about adapting stories correctly, especially King. So it's weird to have this kind of, giant exception over here for The Shining because I shouldn't like this. I should hate this, as per my general rule, but I don't. I love it to death. It's an amazing movie. And I think a lot of that comes from the fact that I watched it first before I read the book.
Yeah, one, I've always had the stance of like it's okay for the adaptation to change things if you want, because at the end of the day, they're two separate entities, right? Like
Yeah.
nothing's taking away from the book, or I'll topping on the new trend that's finally been taken off because Hollywood finally cracked the damn code. Nothing's taking the video game away, right? Nothing's taking that original property away. Now, with that said, if they are going to make changes, does it benefit what's being in this case, in both cases, into the movie, right? Um, is it benefiting the movie being made to make these changes and making a good film? Because sometimes what's on the word of a book, what's in the style of a game or the medium of a game doesn't translate to film, doesn't make sense, doesn't work better for that medium of entertainment, then yes, I'm cool with them making their changes. Now, if they make those changes and it doesn't work, then yeah, I'm gonna put you to task a little more. Because I'm like, well, you tried swinging and you still missed. So why didn't you just, if that was the case, just go ahead and adapt what was there because you clearly couldn't pull off being different. We
Yeah.
kind of saw that with like Pet Cemetery recently. The Pet Cemetery, right? I had no issues with the idea of like subverting expectations and changing the kid on who dies. If anything, I think that's smart. The book still exists. We have the original film. Fuck it, change which kid dies. One, don't put it in the marketing. Two, if you're going to do it, well, then make that subversion that you did worth it, which I don't think the film ever really did when it did do it. It just did it to do it, and then like it never really made it work for the film. If that makes sense on my stance.
I agree with that to an extent. It really just comes down to the fact that, when I'm reading certain books that I adore, I have, I have a vision in my head. Obviously, the film's never going to live up to that vision, but I want the filmmaker to hold the book as almost a sacred text. Like, this is the story you are adapting. You don't need to deviate. It's right there. What makes you think you know better than the person who created this? Just do that. And yeah, sometimes sometimes it's beneficial to have an outside artist kind of change things for the better. I mean, you see that with like The Mist. You know, the ending of that is Frank Darabont's idea that King was very much on board with because Darabont is a genius when it comes to King.
Yes.
Uh,
And I mean the ending to the Mist novella really isn't that great in my opinion.
he
It's
kind of got,
okay.
yeah, it's like he kind of was like, and then they kept driving. Like, it's almost like he got tired of writing it.
Yeah, like, and they're still trifling. We're done.
Something might happen. I don't know. You don't know. They don't know. So move
Hmm.
on.
Next story.
Uh, Actually, that gives me a good, interesting discussion question off the cuff here. I have a pretty big discussion question that we'll talk about in a bit here, but I have one I just thought of that I think would be a good thing to talk about here. We've both seen quite a lot of Stephen King adaptations. We've read a lot of his work. We've seen a lot of the films made from his work.
Yeah, I'm currently reading one of his books right now, Fairy Tale, for anyone who's wondering.
Very nice. I just recently watched Desperation for the first time and thought it was pretty good.
Nice.
Um, what, in your opinion, is the worst Stephen King adaptation, and what is the best? So I'm not talking quality of film. I'm talking adaptation.
You know what? Worst would be The Shining as an adaptation. Would actually, quite frankly, be The Shining because it doesn't follow a goddamn thing from the book.
It,
No, look, if you take away The Shining, if you take away The Shining, I'll take it out. I'll just take it out of the equation completely.
okay.
Um, you know what? I actually have to say probably the one of the worst ones I've seen. It's this my Dark Tower versus Dark Tower. It just I was about to say Carrie, the remake, not the original. Don't come at me, people. Um, I was about to say Carrie or Firestar, but I was like, wait, no, the fucking Dark Tower. Fuck that movie. Now that's just a terrible adaptation and bad movie. Um, I won't put that as my worst. Oh fuck, my best. The best one. Oh god, that's tough. I'm trying to think of like probably my favorite adaptation. It's you know what? I'm probably going to go with Shawshank Redemption.
Mm,
Actually, I I know it's not a horror one, but I got to go Shawshank. Out of all the adaptations, I think that and Stand By Me, I've gone to actually surprisingly enough the most I've gone back to, or those two.
they're fantastic. I got to show my cousin Ryan the Shawshank Redemption last week. He'd never seen it before, and he knew nothing about it. So he didn't see anything come. The whole third act, he didn't see that coming. I got to see him like experience Andy's escape revelation, and he was like, "Oh my God." Like, he was reacting physically, and I'm like, "Oh, this is awesome." To watch
Oh yeah.
Shawshank with no knowledge of what's going to happen has got to be a surreal experience. Uh,
Mhm.
yeah, Shawshank is a fantastic adaptation. I agree with you that Dark Tower is the worst one. Um, you're going to shove 7 books into 1 hour and a half movie that's going to completely disregard every character's motivation and amount to absolutely nothing. Why? Why did you even want to make this?
Mike Flanagan, your only hope.
Yeah. And frankly, the bar's been set so low, you could completely fuck this up and it'll probably be better.
You could shit out a script literally, and it'll be better than that movie.
Yeah. You could have Roland say it's Tower in time and it would still be pretty good, probably.
Now taste a fistful of the car. People will get that who read the books.
There is a conversation, and I think it's the sixth book, Song of Susanna, where they go into the real world and Eddie orders a sandwich because he hasn't had a sandwich in like years.
Yeah,
And
because it's not that damn journey.
he gets mayonnaise, and Roland's like, "What is that?" And he's like, "It's mayonnaise. What do you have a problem with it?" And Roland's like, "No, I just wouldn't want to have something on my sandwich that looks so much like cum." And Eddie's like, "Well, now I don't want to fucking eat it. Thank you so much, Roland. You ruined my sandwich." I really hope that scene's in the show. I want to see that acted.
God, I would love that.
Eddie's like, "Yep, not eating my cum sandwich anymore. Thank you so much, Gunslinger. Really appreciate that." Um, I always thought that was funny and so like unnecessary. Like, dude, just let him have his sandwich.
Yeah. Stop being an asshole. You're supposed to be not an asshole by the sixth book.
Uh, other worst contenders. I really hated the 2022 Firestarter remake. I thought that was just a disservice. I thought John Rainbird is one of King's greatest villains, and he was neutered to hell in that movie.
Yeah, it's like they casted right this time, but then they said let's neuter the character. I'm like, well, then,
Yeah, yeah, that was an abomination. Although
yeah,
John Carpenter did the music, and he killed it as he usually does.
it fucked.
Yeah,
It fucked.
yeah.
The score, not the movie.
No, the movie was a lifeless worm of a
It
cock.
went.
Yeah. Um,
John Carpenter's score though, rock hard. Go on.
yeah, he can't not be. It's like permanent. It's probably a condition. Uh, the best. So yeah, Shawshank's up there. Stand by Me. I gotta give the crown to Misery.
God, Misery. I was thinking the original Carrie. That's one that flashed in my head because it's such a great movie too.
Yeah.
Misery is a good one.
Hmm. Oh yeah, I
It's
just
it's
love.
tough.
I love the just the the care into the characters, the relationship that unfolds, the horror in Misery is played out so well. It's all subtle until it explodes, and it feels like the the book came to life. It really does feel like that with Misery.
Yeah. Even dude, even some of the stuff that I consider kind of like more in the middle ground. Like I don't love it. I don't hate it. Like Children of the Corn, uh the original Pet Cemetery. I still get joys watching those because they're almost like a comfort type of film. Like, no, I understand it's not the greatest adaptation ever, nor is it really the worst. It's kind of firmly in the middle. But I can watch it just for comfort. Or as his director effort with Maximum Overdrive, like I can watch it for comfort and just be like, hey, you know what? I'm not really wanting to watch anything that requires that much brain power right now. I'm just kind of chilling. I'll throw this shit on.
Yeah, there's a lot of those for King. And it just comes down to the fact that he's such an amazing storyteller that he can do so many different things with his work, so many different genres, so many different types of stories, a lot of them connected in some wider universe that he was doing before anybody else thought to do that.
I
And
think that's why I put Shawshank down for my one because it's the one that always surprises people when you tell them it's King. And I'm like, yeah, it's a Stephen King. And they're like, the guy who you're talking about, like the guy who did it and Pet, they always name the big ones. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, because the thing that a lot of people forget is that, like, yes, he's really good at writing horrific, scary stories. He is, but his stuff works because he is one of the best, in my opinion, when it comes to character, when it comes to getting you invested in that part. Like he spends pages upon pages getting into the character's thoughts, getting into who they are. That yeah, that's to me, it's like yeah, it makes sense that that's easily translatable to his more traumatic stuff like The Green Mile, Stand by Me, or I think it's called The Body, the actual short story. Um, uh, and yes, the Shawshank Redemption are again short story things like Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption are some kind of clunky title. Um, but it works because he's so good at characters that that part translates really well to me in those cases because Shawshank, Stand By Me, even Green Mile. People don't talk about enough, in my opinion. Those are films that are all about characters. They're traumas. They're all about characters. They're about what's happening to these guys, and it's something that King has always fucking excelled at.
Well, I think that's because, people forget that he's his work, horror is secondary to a good story. The horror comes naturally, it's organic. The storytelling is why people keep coming back to King and why he still is, a hell of a bestseller, still writing, still, getting adapted. Like the well will never run dry because he cares about telling a story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at what makes Pet Cemetery horrific. It's actually not, yes, to an extent, it's all the stuff that happens when, Gage comes back and all that stuff. But the actual horrific thing to so many people in Pet Cemetery, especially parents, isn't anything supernatural, isn't anything paranormal. It's the inciting incident. It's the kid getting hit by a truck. That is the most horrific thing to people in that story. Because again, he gets you invested in the characters, he gets you invested into his family, and then gives you the most, compared to everything else, mundane but still horrific, terrifying thing that for a parent, it's something they would never want to go through. And he gives it to them in that before we get to the horrific, paranormal shit later.
Yeah. Same with The Shining. You know, the book and the miniseries are about a family dealing with alcoholism and this kind of sense of betrayal that has happened because of Jack's actions. He's actively trying to fix his family, fix his relationship with his son, his marriage, his job prospects. He wants to be a better man. And the Overlook taps into those fears and exploits them to get him to fall. And while Kubrick's movie's great, none of that comes up.
No, Nicholson is Nicholson. And again, that's not a slight against Nicholson. We will talk heavily about how good he is in this movie later.
Yeah.
But you're getting Nicholson. Like he's playing one version of Jack.
Yeah. And that was, I'll talk about it when we get to production, but that was King's biggest problem with the casting, was Jack. And we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah.
But first,
Like, no one come at me. I caveat, he is really good in the movie. I'm just saying. If you read the book, you understand.
yeah, exactly. What do you got?
Well, I actually came fully loaded in questions. Dot dot dot.
Interesting.
So here, let me think, because I got some good stuff. I want to slam you. At least one or two good ones. Get a whole good load of this. Okay, here we go. So I know we'll probably talk about in production, but I'm going to ask the question now. For those who don't know, me and Connor grew up in a small town that houses Shirley Duvall. She's not the most sane person in the world, unfortunately. And that's because anyone who lives in town has stories about her. Not always good stories. I'm just saying. Um, and the reason I mention that is because infamously, she was pushed beyond her breaking point by Stanley Kubrick in this film. And now, in light of method acting, at least, getting called out more and more in recent years, behaviors getting called out in the film industry in recent years, here's my question. What are your feelings on a director pushing their actor past their limits, and like in this case, or even in general, with this whole being fully committed to method acting thing? Like, what are your personal feelings on this?
I
That's right.
think
Told you I came prepared. Go.
I think that an actor and a director should be allowed to do whatever they want, whenever they want, for the sake of performance. All that matters is the art. I don't care who gets hurt.
Jesus Christ. Not what I was expecting.
I'm just kidding. Jesus Christ, that'd be horrible. No, I think there's absolutely a limit. This is not life or death. This is filmmaking, and you should not be emotionally distressing people for the sake of your like 130th take. It's psychotic. It's mental fatigue. It's mental distress. It's wrong. Any kind of method acting that inconveniences people or mistreats people or hurts them call that shit out immediately and put a stop to it on a set. I don't care who does it, whether it's craft services or the executive producer, somebody has to say something. And that,
I think in
so
both I think in both cases something should be said.
yeah.
I know he's not being a method just because I know Nicholson kind of did some. He wasn't one of the more like assholish ones when it came to it, but he had his techniques to get into character. Um,
Yeah, I've got
um,
nothing wrong with people's, process. If they gotta, pound three Red Bulls and slap themselves in the face in order to get into character, whatever. That's
it's
their
not
process.
affecting anyone. Yeah, it's not affecting anyone but them. So have at it.
But like,
Um,
here's like an example on Kramer versus Kramer. Dustin Hoffman got so into character, he actually slapped Meryl Streep and like mocked her about her recent fiance's death in order
I
to make
heard
her.
about that. Yeah,
That is psychotic and evil behavior. Don't do that shit.
yeah, and I'm with you. I think in all cases, method acting, or in the case like Kubrick, these people need to get called out. Like we're finally getting to a point where Hollywood is getting called out. I'm referencing like the Me Too movement, and Believe, and all that stuff that went down.
Yeah.
Or this behavior, at least that behavior is getting called out more, and there's more and more people saying this isn't okay. Um, and I'm with you. I think what sucks is that like as much as I do agree that yes, even someone as lowly as craft services or the P or a PDA or someone should say something, they won't because they're going to get fired.
Yeah.
Um, but then hey, look, if you're a producer, have some fucking balls and get in there and be like, you are not treating these people like this. Like, I do not to this day agree at all with the way Kubrick treated Shelley Duvall in this movie. Not one bit. Look, Kubrick, fantastic director. He has made some tremendous films. I'm not taking that from him. The legacy is unmatched. To do what he was doing for a fucking performance is absolutely insane. It's asinine, and it's just being a bully. That's to me, it's plain and simple being a bully.
Yeah.
Shirley Duvall wasn't a bad actress. She was known to be a good actress back in her day. I guarantee you could have given you that performance without going that far with it. And I think he should have been called out for it at the time and been like, hey, lay the fuck off, leave her alone. Jack Nicholson easily could have said something because this was when he was starting to become known
Well,
when he did this film.
I think Jack did try to say something. I remember reading some stuff that like he tried to tell, he tried to be the civil one. He tried to be neutral
That's right.
throughout.
He did. He tried to be a middleman for a bit to kind of
Yeah.
help out. So
But
he did try. He did his best.
yeah. And I'm sure he had a great experience. He's been very vocal about, working with Kubrick and The Shining. And yeah, he's got great experiences. And I'm like, well, yeah, of course you do. You weren't, verbally assaulted for the entire run of the film. Um,
Yeah.
Kind of nuts.
And yeah, and then like with the whole method acting thing, like it's the same thing. Call them out. Like the whole thing with Jared Leto, he's always popping up in the fucking stories for his insane shit. Why he was allowed to do this shit on Morbius, which was a shitty film anyway. Um, to go to the bathroom, like why did no one call him? I would be like, dude, enough. Like go to the bathroom, get your ass back out here. You don't need to crutch your way to it. You're not disabled, asshole.
Oh man. I remember reading about Kubrick was known for being willing to do anything for the sake of the shot. And, I mean, he almost blinded Malcolm McDowell on the set of A Clockwork Orange. He uh, found out that he was terrified of snakes. So he decided to put a snake in his bed to get a real reaction of fear, which is mean as fuck. Uh, and then on Eyes Wide Shut, Sidney Pollack plays a part in that movie. And he made Sidney Pollack film a simple shot of him like getting up and answering a door over 130 times.
Yeah, and that's insane. Like, dude, I get getting the shot. You're telling me it took you 100 times to get that shot.
It's not worth it. Like, can anybody but you tell the difference between take one and take 95? No.
And that's what kills me. Okay, look. That's what kills me sometimes with this. And I get you want to make your film as good as possible. I'm not taking that away. You're an artist. You want to make your film the best it can possibly be. The general audience does not notice these fucking things. The amount of fights I have with people that try to tell me, oh, this person was bad in this movie. Oh, Nicolas Cage is a bad actor. I'm like, you're a fucking idiot. I'm like, I've seen bad acting. I've seen bad this, bad that, blah, blah, blah. You don't get it. Tells me that unless it's a select few of us that like absolutely adore film, eat this shit up, Most people are not going to notice.
At the end of the day, this is a movie. It's not worth your life. It's not worth your mental health. It's not worth your physical health. It's a movie.
Yeah, and like I said, we grew up in the town that she's in now. I
Yeah.
don't want to name it or anything. I know we haven't passed, but I'm just not going to name it now for some sake of privacy, for her at least. Um, and like I said, there's stories about her. They're not good. She is mentally off. The stories about her in that town, or guess what Shelley Duvall did that, now, like guess what experience I just had with her. It's nothing about her legacy, her time in the movies. She looked, if you saw her, you would be like, there's no way that's her. This movie really fucked her, and was it worth it? I hopefully she's living her best life. I hope. Um, but looking at her, hearing the stories you hear growing up in that town, was it fucking worth it? Like, she could
Yeah.
have still been acting, having a great career, and now at most her claim to fame now recently was this low budget horror film that has fucking Edward Furlong of all people. Yeah, quality. Won her in the movie. And again, I had my issues with that because I just want to make sure that those filmmakers weren't just using her, and trying to be like, oh, yeah, Shelley, like it to me, I guess, like I'm coming from that first hand encounter, growing up in that town, seeing what the fucking first hand what it did to her. No, it's not worth it at all. I don't think it was worth it one bit to do that to her on this film.
No, not at all. Especially since Kubrick was, coddling other people on the set. Like he was making sure certain people were in their, having their best time. So it's just it's so weird that he just felt like I have to destroy this woman in order to make her exhibit fear. Like just act. There was I know I keep weird that Dustin Hoffman keeps coming up in this, but method actor who pisses
Well,
people
so
off
he's notorious for his methods when it comes to his method acting.
is on the set of Marathon Man, which he did with Laurence Olivier. Olivier is, considered one of the greatest actors of all time. I disagree, but I've actually watched the movies. Um, so Hoffman's playing a marathon runner at one point, and he has to do a scene where he has to look like he just ran like a mile. So instead of, acting, he decided to run a mile. And he made everybody wait while he ran a mile. And when he started doing the scene, Olivier was like, why did you do that? And Hoffman's like, well, in the scene, I just ran a mile, so I had to do it. And Olivier said famously, why didn't you just try acting? And yeah, it's a good point. Olivier would sit in his trailer and, go drink tea and read fucking Shakespeare or whatever he did. Then when he was called to set, he'd be like, okay, I am a Nazi dentist and action. And then he would do it. And then he would, when they yelled cut, he's no longer a Nazi dentist. And he goes back to his trailer and keeps reading and drinking that tea. It's a job, folks. It's
Yeah,
if the greatest thespians of all time can just turn it off and go, play some fucking Space Invaders or whatever he was doing, and then bring it back on, and he ends up as the one with the Oscar nomination from that movie. I just find that kind of hilarious.
no, it is, and like I said, certain things to an extent I do understand. Like I think I read like Leonardo DiCaprio when he did Django Unchained, even between takes, he was talking in that accent. But that I can understand because I know that can be hard to maintain that fucking accent sometimes. So it's like it's easier to just say fuck it while I'm shooting. I'm just talking like this.
Accent, I get. Character would be crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Like from what I understand, he was still Leo as soon as they said cut. He just kept the voice up, so then he wouldn't fuck it up in between takes. That I get, right? Or actors when they need to do something that crying is obviously one of the hardest fucking things to do on camera. They do have to do some kind of like to an extent method, maybe remember painting from it, something to get them crying. So they usually need a minute. Again, an understandable thing. You're talking about stuff that is not easy to do on the fly.
Yeah.
But yes, like running, yeah, dude, just act. Make it look like you ran a mile.
Yeah. Watch this. You see how out of breath I sound? I didn't just get up and run around my apartment. No, I faked it.
Or,
I acted.
or
And I'm no Dustin Hoffman, but I think I'm pretty close.
yeah. Or like, look, I've seen the behind the scenes for The Shining. Jack Nicholson just to get like riled up would just sit there and like scream and like do some jumping jacks and do things like that to get him in. That's a do something like that if you want to look like you're tired. Do a fucking quick exercise. Be like, "Ooh, I really worked myself up. Okay, whoo, I'm good. I got this."
My favorite behind the scenes video from The Shining. It was during the scene where he's filming the when he's locked in the pantry and he's like the camera's pointed up at him and he's like, you got a big surprise coming to you and starts cackling. It was filmed from the side of the set, and as soon as Kubrick yells cut, Jack Torrance disappears, and you can see it happen in a second. He's just like all of a sudden he gets up and he's like, "How was that, Stan? Did that work?" Like just it was weird. I was like, "How did you turn it off so quickly?" Like that's Jack Nicholson, arguably arguably the greatest actor of all time. There's definitely an argument to be made with that. And to just see him kind of disappear and reappear that quickly and visibly notice it was freaky.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why I say like that's why it astonishes me sometimes with these stories you hear of them. I'm like, there's more stories of them just doing their job and acting. You don't need to go through all these extremes. Like, and
Yeah,
I get it. It's acting's a lot harder, yes, than some people give it credit for. Because like sometimes when people are like, "Man, I could do that," I'm like, "Then do it. Put a camera on you and act, and you tell me how fucking convincing it is." Like, it's way harder than you think it is. I'm like, but still, with that said, the amount they can just turn on, turn off, or like I said, if it's something a little bit more difficult, like accents, they need to get like emotional, and they have to do stuff that does borderline method to make sure they can maintain it. Okay, cool. When you get into that level though, when it's like I said, Jared Leto, like I need crutches to go to the bathroom, so I know I'm just no, you don't. How does that help the performance? Or like you're saying with all the different Dustin Hoffman stories that he has done, it's like, what did that do for the performance? Fucking nothing.
especially with Morbius. Like that's the movie where you're going to sacrifice your like commitment to that. This really?
Apparently he's met them in like every movie, but Morbius, because it was already a bad movie, that was just more fuel to the fire. It was like, oh, you won't believe what he was doing on set.
Ah, it's the only job where you could really get away with that. Like you don't see construction workers being like, "I'm not building this road till everybody has their hat at a certain angle and that guy leaves the set." It's like, what the fuck? No, get out of here.
All right, you can't be Mike Myers, and because a PA looks at you wrong, get them fired.
Ugh, God, don't even get me started with Mike Myers. Uh, anyway, that was all right. Good question. What else you got?
Oh, I got another good one. You stand by, buddy boy. Not unlike my phone. Okay. All right, we kind of briefly mentioned it. But let's get into the nitty-gritty of this. King himself infamously hates this adaptation. So with that said, what are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on King's long-standing, very much not private, very public take on this film?
I get it. Admittedly, I wish he did it more often. Like, there's been worse adaptations. I wish every time he was like, "Fuck this! How dare you just smirch my work?" Like, I wish he did that more. I
Yeah, I
guess.
agree.
I guess
Nice.
with The Shining, he was still early. I mean, this was only his third book. That he was still pretty new to the scene. He was only just starting to grow out his coke nail. And
Yeah. If I recall correctly, it was Carrie, Salem's Lot, and then The Shining.
that is great. Yep, that's correct. What a hell of a start to a writing career.
All right, all three great books. If you haven't read them, fucking fantastic.
And then I think the fourth book was either The Stand or The Dead Zone. So like,
Also, yeah, the one both great books as well.
yeah, goddamn. But yeah, you put your book into the hands of a acclaimed director who's at that point done films like Barry Lyndon and Paths of Glory and The Killing and Clockwork Orange 2001. Like, of course, if like, that guy's gonna make my book, holy shit, yeah. And then they start writing the script, and you get a screenwriter who openly hates your works, compares it to books you did at
Uh,
the airport.
yeah, Kubrick, I think called it paranormal mumbo or something, whatever he said.
It wasn't Kubrick though; it was the other person. It was her name was Diane Johnson, and she
Okay.
basically said like, "Yeah, this is Drek, but I'm getting paid." Which is
Jesus.
yeah, and they weren't exactly subtle about this shit to King. Like they made it very clear that like, yeah, he can. make as many suggestions as he wants, but they don't have to listen to him.
Fucking
Uh,
hell.
yeah, and then you watch the dailies and you're like, where's the nuance? Like, why is Jack already crazy? Like, what? Red rum means nothing in this movie. It's
Yeah.
yeah,
It,
I get that, and then I'm gonna go on talk shows and be like, yeah, I'm upset, I'm disappointed.
for decades now, it's hilarious.
Yeah. But then the Dark Tower comes out and he's like, "Oh, I'm looking forward to this. It's a very cool adaptation." And I'm like, "Steve, what?"
Yeah, they have to be paying him at this point for some of his takes. I'm like, dude, you're going to defend the Dark Tower adaptation, but continue on like The Shining. And look, I'm with you on the most part. For the most part, I do get it. Also for a lot of people who don't know, The Shining, a lot of his early works more than his later stuff is very personal. The Shining being one of them. It's a very personal book because before he had a bad coke habit, King also had a really bad drinking habit in his early days. And The Shining was referencing that. The Shining was speaking to that part of him as a struggling writer, the bad drinking habit. I think I won't say the incident in the book with Jack and Danny is an autobiography what he did to his kids, but I know he did hurt them in some way that
It
he
was it
regretted.
it was similar to that. A lot of it was from what I read, more like what he thought about doing. Screaming child,
Mhm.
alcohol. You want to be just like shut up, and like he thought about I could hurt that kid right now.
Yeah, yeah,
Ugh, yeah, dark shit.
yeah, and yeah. So it was a very personal book to help him get through his own personal demons at the time. So on that, I understand, and I do get that. Like, dude, this was a really person. If I was going to be like, hey, this was a really personal book, fuck you. Like, and also at this point, like, it's his third successful book, so it's like, hey, fuck you. This is personal. It's successful. Like, I'm a hit writer now. You can go fuck yourself. On that end, I do understand the his hatred. This is what I just like being the butt, however, guy apparently, or however, but it's been decades. Kubrick is now dead. He's been dead for years. I would, and like you said, there's been so many worse adaptations that just really, like the Dark Tower, that like I would think at this point his shit would have softened on it. Like, hey, look, I don't, still fully not my favorite adaptation. It is a good movie. I get where people come from. I would at least think that over the time, like, hey, maybe lesson, dude, like,
Well, he
let
has.
it go a bit.
I think he has. I think he's accepted that this is when people think of The Shining, they do now think of the movie first than they do his book, which is, people don't like to read, regrettably. Um,
Yeah.
but I think he has accepted that this is a decent horror movie. I think working with Flanagan on Doctor Sleep helped him kind of work through a lot of that. I think made him kind of come to terms with the fact that at the end of the day, people love this story. So,
Yeah.
just take the W.
Yeah. Flanagan almost got told no by King on Doctor Sleep.
Hmm.
When he went to go pitch it, his agent told him like, look, man, King hates this fucking movie, right? He's like, I know. He's like, all right, well, good luck. And so like he said he went to go pitch it, and at first King was like, no, I don't want a sequel to The Shining. I no. And then what sold him was he told him the scene in Doctor Sleep when um Danny has to talk with the ghost of Jack in the bar. He told him that scene. He told him what he was going for, what he was evoking, and that's what sold King on it. And that's when King said, "Yes, make your movie."
You know why? Because Flanagan understood what this story is. It is an alcoholism allegory. And I love that scene. Austin recently told me he fucking hates it, but I love that scene.
What, the movie or that scene?
Doctor Sleep, he's not a fan.
Uh, Austin, buddy, okay, that is Shape and Water. We need to talk and have an intervention.
He said I don't know if well, I've already the door's open. We're walking through it. He basically told me that he finds Henry Thomas's performance as Jack Torrance disrespectful and unnecessary, which I get to an extent, but I also think that it's the best they could do with that kind of, what were they
I
going to do? What were they going to do? De-age Jack Nicholson?
I will say
You
I
need
dis
Jack. The arc. You need Jack for the arc to work.
Yeah. Okay. Look, we've opened the door. Austin, you can text me after this episode airs. I invite it. Um, I disagree with Austin. Because to me, if they to be disrespectful and unnecessary was if you had convinced Jack Nicholson to come out of retirement and you got him to do this, and you like you said, you de-aged him, which would have looked fucking awful. Or you went, yeah, just make him look the way he does now. And I don't know if you guys have seen Jack Nicholson. He's not look like how he used to. He's
I
very
got it.
much tired.
I gotta say though, if in 2019 I went to see Doctor Sleep, and at the end of the movie, Jack fucking Nicholson walks onto the screen after like 10 years of retirement and didn't tell anybody he was coming back, I don't give a shit if he looks like butt ass naked and with a giant beard. I'm gonna be so happy.
I mean, yeah, but to me, that would have been disrespectful.
Yeah.
To me, how they did it was the most respectful they could do it. Is it obviously not? Yes, obviously. I know it's Henry Thomas doing an impression, but he's doing the best he can. In a scene that one, I believe, if I recall, Doctor Sleep is in the book. Danny does see Jack in the
Yeah.
book,
Yes.
so they are adapting a scene. And two, they're doing it in a way that to me, one is absolutely respectful of what Jack Nicholson did with the movie. It's honoring the movie while also honoring the book, which Mike Flanagan was absolutely having to toe that line the entire time, which is why I love it so much. So also, Austin, how dare you besmirch Mike Flanagan like this?
Oh boy.
Um, but and as far as that, I actually think it's necessary because again, one is the scene that Flanagan had to pitch King on to get this made, and it's the crux of the entire movie, like we were just talking about. It is absolutely hammering home the entire point of both The Shining and Doctor Sleep.
It is Dan making an active attempt to forgive his father
Mm-hmm.
and in turn forgive himself.
Yeah,
It's
he's admitting that he became his father, and then saying, "I forgive you, and I need to forgive myself."
Yeah. The whole, man takes a drink takes a drink, and the drink takes the man. I fucking loved that. I thought that was fantastic. Just if King didn't want a sequel to The Shining, don't write Doctor Sleep. I mean,
Yeah, and like I guess
he had
he
to have
easily
seen
could have
that
vetoed
coming.
it. Yeah, he easily could have, like I said, he almost told Flanagan no. That scene is what convinced King to go, yes, you get it. You get what both these books are to me. Make your movie.
Yeah, that's all it takes is a little bit of respect for the source material. That's all that, that's if I was gonna, if somebody was gonna make a movie out of my book and they completely changed everything, I would be pissed as hell. Especially if I had no control over any of it and couldn't stop it. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
So yeah. Look, Austin, I know you're gonna listen to this afterwards. We can have a discussion over, but the point is, you're wrong on Doctor Sleep, my friend.
you you don't tell Caleb you don't like a horror movie. I've learned that. Like you better, yeah, just it's better to just not. And admittedly, I told him you didn't like the horror movie, so this is on me. But whatever.
Next time I see us, I'm gonna have like a PowerPoint presentation of like this is why you're wrong, and Doctor Sleep is an awesome movie. Okay, slide one.
You get the PowerPoint. I get a constant ball breaking. That's what I get.
Yes,
All right. Do you have any more discussion questions, or should we move on to my big one?
I have one last one. It's a more goofy one, less
Okay.
heavy.
All right.
But that is if you take away the haunted aspect, could you do this job that Jack and his family does?
Dude, I would love to do this job. You give me isolation for months in a beautiful hotel with like a giant food, unlimited food and time to myself to actually get something done. Dude, that's the bet. I'll take the ghosts. I don't fucking care. I will have time to myself. That would be beautiful. I mean, I practically do that now. Like this
Yeah,
is
dude.
this is mostly my human interaction is doing
You
this.
you take this job to modern times like now, and
Mhm.
you're like, yeah, well, we have internet, so you can use your streaming services, bring your PlayStation, like bring whatever books you want, like have at it. I'd be like, yeah, sign me up. You're going to let me live there and pay me, and you're feeding me. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I can do this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, granted, maybe don't bring anybody with you because you could go insane and kill them, or they could go insane and kill you. So it's best to just not bring your family to this one.
Yeah. Would it get spooky even without the ghost? Yeah, it's a fucking hotel. I'd be in that room most of the time. Like, no, I don't want to go out there at night. It's creepy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how much am I getting for this?
We'll say in a weird fucking curveball for 2024, you're getting paid well.
Am I?
Yes.
I'd do it. Yeah, in a heartbeat. Yeah, 100%. Unlike Jack, I'd actually write something.
I mean, technically Jack did write, so he just wrote the same thing over and over.
Yeah. Well, yeah, okay. I was gonna do a dig, but I was like, oh, I can't. Who am I gonna? Who's that gonna be aimed at? And I couldn't think of anybody. I was gonna say like, well, so and so has been doing that for years, but I didn't want to say Stephen King because that is not true at all. No, no, no.
Oh no, no.
But it's the first name that popped into my head, and I'm like, I can't say that. Why would I say that?
Why would I do that to
It's
myself?
not worth the joke. It's not worth it. Uh, could you do the job?
Honestly, yeah. That would be my heaven, actually. Be like, you don't want me to do it with people? Okay. Like I
Yeah,
said, I'd tell them like, I can stream stuff, internet works that good. Okay, cool. Can I bring my PlayStation and Switch? Okay, cool. Can I bring some of my books that I need to read anyway? All right, you said I'm in.
yeah. And all you got to do is like what, dump the boiler and make sure nothing's broken. That is an
Yeah.
easy fucking 6 months.
I would get up early, be like, let's knock this shit out early so I got the rest of the day to myself.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I don't. I think our generation just doesn't put as much dark stock into the concept of a haunted house. That's not a deal breaker for us anymore. If
Yeah,
anything, it's
now we're
a
like, sure.
bonus.
Yeah. Now if anything, I'm like, I'll just have partied up with those ghosts. Fuck it.
Yeah, you don't bother me. I don't bother you. It's your hotel. I'm just living in it.
I will stay out of your room. You stay out of mine. How's that sound?
Yeah, I don't shine. They got nothing to fear from me. Ah, nice. I liked that. Um, so my question is less about The Shining and more about the podcast we've been doing for 5 years. We've done.
Wow. Wow. I
I know.
worked really hard on shining questions. Is what you do to me? Okay.
Thank you for carrying the load, so I didn't have to.
My back hurts now.
I bet. Um, we've delivered almost 700 episodes worth of content. We've done a fuck ton of movies, of episodes, of countdowns, of spotlights, of drafts, all that jazz.
Good movies, bad movies, in between.
Yeah, pretty much. So my question to you, what is your all-time favorite episode of the Filmgazm podcast?
You're an asshole for asking that. God, you suck. Why would you?
I got mine ready to go if you want some time.
Yeah, because you fucking God,
I, I
go. Just
I
go.
warned you before I said it was going to be involved and you're
I
going to
didn't know. I didn't know the question. You just said, "Hey, get ready," and I was
Yeah.
like,
We never know the question.
"What?"
It's called reaction time, my friend. Reaction time.
I look. You want me to come in cocked and hard and ready to go, and I came in chubbed and not ready to go. Apparently.
Oh, all right. Way to make it
Yep,
weird.
that's my analogy. Go
All
ahead.
right.
Favorite episode.
So throughout this show, we've had many different podcasts under the Filmgasm umbrella. We've had Oscar Sunday, we've had Beyond the Bad, we've had the sneak preview, we've had First Thoughts, and we've done a lot with all of those. But for me, the most memorable and fun and enjoyable episode we've ever done was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. That
Oh
was
yeah.
that was fun. We had the whole, at the time, the entire team, me, you, Josh, and Austin. And coordinating all that was a pain in the ass. I still don't know how we pulled that off. And we just I went in fully prepared to hate that movie again. And I did find some likable qualities, and y'all were just so happy and a little smug about it, admittedly. But
Fuck you. I was. I don't care.
it was nice to, get to be on the other side of, I don't like hating movies. I don't like when I watch a movie and I'm like, oh, that sucked because I'm
Could
gonna
have.
upset somebody out there.
You could have fooled me, but go on.
I don't enjoy that. I don't go into movies, hoping, oh, I can't wait for this to suck so I could tell Caleb it was awful. That's not
Can't
what I.
wait to
It's not what I
can't
do.
wait to destroy Caleb's hopes and dreams and tell him he has shit taste.
I
Can't wait. Ah, pick better
sometimes,
movies, the loser.
sometimes, yeah, but not always.
Fuck you.
Sometimes I think I'm entitled to a little what the fuck is wrong with you. But
No.
in Texas Chainsaw 2, I
With
was like, all
that
right,
dude, you will watch certain how with that dude, Serbian film, you wait.
but yeah, that was a fun, memorable, you know, full team episode, and we haven't gotten to do a lot of those, and I had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, that was a good one. I remember being surprised because usually, Mr. Second Viewings changed my opinions. I'm not giving that a second shot or nope, still hate it, not changing my mind.
I
And
only
this time
give
you
I
changed your
only give a
mind.
second watch to films that I think deserve it. Not everything deserves it. Sometimes I can get the full
See,
idea of a movie from one watch.
now we've added the caveat. Okay, no, all right, now the caveat got added. Interesting.
It has always
Interesting.
been that has always been the caveat.
It's no, it's been recently added. But yeah, I remember, yeah, you surprised me with that, and I was like, oh, he got it this time because Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is a good sequel, especially if you look at some of the later films in that franchise. It's a good sequel. Um, but yeah, that was a fun one. You know what? I'm gonna be slightly narcissistic and pick a Beyond the Bad episode because I did those episodes. I was very proud of all the episodes I did. Not always all the movies I sat through, all the episodes I did. And you know what? I'm gonna keep in the realm of King. And I was actually really proud, as she as the film was, I was really proud of our Dark Tower episode. Mostly because, dear God, the Wikipedia I had to go through for that one. Holy fuck.
Yeah, detailed. Not the movie because they cut all the details out of the movie, but the production. Yeah.
Yeah. I was very proud of myself for being able to take a very long Wikipedia entry that was literally like divided by the eras as to who was fucking attached to this film for so long and find a way to condense that into a workable production history. Um so I was very proud of myself pulling that off and I thought like the episode came out way better than the movie. So
I really enjoy doing Beyond the Bad. If we like, if the bulk of the Filmgazm podcast didn't pretty much rest with me and you, I would 100% like consider bringing that back. That was a really fun idea, and we had a good time with that.
we did we in a lot of not to pat myself on the back, but I was very happy to see a lot of elements I put into that show carry over, like the production history and the questions. Um
Yeah, I pretty
Carry over.
much. I'm not gonna lie. I aped your entire structure for the
I
Filmgazm reboot.
I know you did, and I was like, I did something good because my structure apparently was the gold standard.
It was. It really was. Yeah, the music too. Your music became the show's music.
Hell yeah. So there's always a little bit of me in Filmgasm.
That sounded dirty.
I know I
Uh,
was trying to make it sound dirty.
I've always thought of Filmgazm as a circle jerk among all of us. It is
All of us are making eye contact.
it is a shared the Filmgasm is a shared experience.
The lights are on and we're just staring at each other.
Oh boy. Um, some of my favorite Beyond the Bad moments were realizing that Michael Crichton was out of his goddamn mind. That was one of my favorite moments. That became a nice recurring gag of, or I
I get,
walk.
I get the real thing or I walk. I liked how we found out about the obsession with producers and spiders for some reason.
Yeah, that came up a lot, weirdly.
Came out way more than it had any right to.
Uh I remember the fucking Robert Davi blowjob joke that kept coming back.
We really wanted a blowjob. It was kind of scary.
He kept bringing it up like that's all he wanted. Like Showgirls was terrible, but that kept making me laugh. I mean, he says it like 6 times. Yeah, that was a great show, and I like doing that. I've been thinking about a way to get to do that again, and I'll pitch some stuff to you later.
Okay. Yeah. I also liked when we had the episodes where I didn't have a lot of production history or because I didn't own the film or like Sex Drive, for example. Like I didn't own the film and the Wikipedia was like super light on it. I couldn't find shit online. So like we had to get inventive and we came up with fun like lists or something to do. So I would text you in advance like I can't find shit. We gotta get inventive um with this then. So it was a fun show to do.
One of my favorites filmgasms that I did was Hook with Colton. Uh, that was right around the time we had just kind of started to know each other. I brought him in because we had somebody we had brought in who turned out to be a flake, and they knew each other quite well.
I know
And
who you're talking about.
yeah, I'm not being very subtle about it. And we did an episode, all three of us, on Wizards, which was a Ralph Bakshi weird ass movie, which I liked. And that podcast was largely me and him talking, with her kind of trying to join in and really shouldn't have much to say. And I was like, I've invested my time and effort into the wrong person. And then Colton did Hook, and we both loved that movie to death. And we did like a 2.5, maybe longer, 2.5 hour episode just gushing about this awesome Peter Pan movie that I don't really know anyone else who loves it that much. So that was when I was like, all right, this is the guy.
You
Uh,
know what? Here's a sneak preview one for you back when we were doing that. One of my favorites was Spider-Man No Way Home because I remember you distinctly telling me, yeah, we haven't hit 3 hours on an episode yet. I'm pretty sure me and Austin can do it. I remember going mentally like, oh, the Oscar guys can do it? Okay. Bet. Watch what the horror guy can do. Watch what I can pull out my ass. And that became our first 3 hour episode ever for Filmgazm in general. And I was like, yes.
yeah, we
No,
dissected that movie to death.
yeah. No offense, Austin. I was just very happy to have that moment.
Well, Austin and I did later hit 3 hours as well with our Avengers Endgame episode.
Yes,
Uh,
but I did it first. I just want to
you
point that
you
out.
you did do it first. That was
I did it first. And plus, it was the fun of No Way Home. I was riding that high still when we recorded the episode. So, yeah, it was a fun episode.
yeah, we've done a lot. We have a lot of really cool memories attached to all these films and friendships and whatnot. It's been a fun ride. I still love
Yeah.
doing this.
I've generally enjoyed our annual top tens we do when it's all you, me, Austin, and Adam. I had to think, sorry. And Adam. I've generally enjoyed doing those, especially because for me it's always fun as like when I know at first we initially did it as an Oscar Sunday thing, and then eventually like this past year because of the restructure we just did it as a fun like Monday episode or Friday, I forget which. Um, but it was always fun being me, like, all right, the horror guy's coming in to fucking declass the Oscar joint. Here's my top 10. You guys pick this Oscar movie? Terrifier 2. Let's go. Like,
Yeah,
it's always fun for me.
you're Rodney Dangerfield in Caddyshack. You're showing up in your like bright ass, bright color, clothes with a loud, annoying car, and just sticking it to all the stuffed shirts at the country club because you don't give a shit. You're having your time.
Yeah. Yeah, like holdovers, Iron Claw. And again, I'm not saying anything bad about those films, right? Not saying anything bad about them at all. But then there's me going, have you guys seen Terrifier 2, X Barbarian? Like, let's talk about those.
Hey everyone, we're all gonna get laid. That's yeah, and I'm happy. I'm happy you're there to ground us. Uh,
Yeah, and on that note, I did really enjoy the time. I played ball with Best Picture because I just really wanted to do Silence of the Lambs. That's really the only reason I play. I was like, I really want to talk about Silence of the Lambs.
that was fun. I'm glad you joined in on that one. I really enjoyed last year. Austin, Adam, and I did a top 10 films of the 2010s, and then we turned all of our the whole countdown into individual episomes. That lasted
Yeah,
3 months. That was a very rewarding project and very exciting and fun, and I'm glad we did that.
yeah, I do. I remember listening to some of those episodes. That was cool. Yeah. Um. Yeah. No. Yeah. I have a lot of really good memories over our. This podcast has always been a fun escape. For me. Especially obviously last year. I'm not going to put it out on the podcast, but some personal stuff, and even kind of now, some family personal stuff that gets my mind away from it. Um, so it's always been a good time, like I said, and I'm glad that before we are see this restructure, I was able to do my personal goal of being on each different type. I was on Sync Review, I've been on Filmgazm, I played ball to an extent on Oscar Sunday, but also brought in the patent Caleb isms to it. So, it's been fun all around. I had, obviously some regrets. I still deeply regret the Oscar Sunday we did on I believe Toy Story 2, where we were both not good timing, and I still feel bad that I did that. I was like, God, I just fucked up Austin's show. God, I feel bad.
I remember, yeah, we it was he was preparing for his wedding, so we took over Oscar Sunday that week. We did Toy Story 2, and we were both like burned out or tired or something. We just admittedly kind of half-assed that one. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some first shit. Now it's first thoughts. There's some sneak previews I'm not too proud of. Like what was it, the fucking Hercule Poirot movie where I was definitely fighting sleep because I was like, I hated the movie to begin with. I didn't want to watch it. And then I'm sitting there like during the episode, like, don't fall asleep, get through this fucking episode.
I'm very glad where like the sneak preview concept ended up with first thoughts. I think it's a much better way to do that. Uh,
Yes.
but we did put in some good work with that. Uh, one of my biggest regrets is the episode Austin and I did on Black Hawk Down on Oscar Sunday. Great movie, great discussion, but my internet was so fucky that it shorted out almost everything we said. I had to trim like 40 minutes from that episode just for it to make sense. I want to
Jesus.
redo Black Hawk Down with a very strong internet connection because I feel like I owe it to that movie.
Black Hawk Down, and I would say we do need to redo the Toy Story 2 one. In general, I'd say we could just do a whole Toy Story thing. Even though I'm not as hip on four as I am the other three films. I do it's a good trilogy. I'll put it like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I regret pretty much every episode I did with a certain somebody who ended up blowing your return episode.
I I was trying not to talk about that. I was
We've danced around it for like
yeah.
years now. It's time.
So
That
I'll
was
say I was when we were talking about best episodes, I was about to say Trash Park. I was like, no, because I was like fully prepping for it, and then my as my premiere, because again, for any new listeners, my favorite film of just all time, not my favorite horror film is the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I fucking adore it. My favorite film of all time, I've always stated as being Jurassic Park. I love Jurassic Park. Um, and so that was gonna be my big debut because I think at the time we hadn't covered it on the podcast, and it was like, hey, let's do this one for your premiere because you love it so much. I was like, fuck yeah, let's go. And through circumstances, I get a text going, hey, so Leprechaun, can you actually premiere on that one? And I'm like, fucking Leprechaun, are you serious? And like, look, the first one's fine. Sequels suck. Um, but I was like, I don't want to really do Leper. Okay, yeah, this is my premiere. So my second episode ended up being Jurassic Park.
well, there was never a lot of effort put in. She bailed constantly. She put me in a bad position with that one. And yeah, I just, I wish I had, but then again, if I hadn't brought her in, I would never have met Colton. So, things happen for
Yeah.
a reason.
And we redid Jurassic Park on this new rebooted format, which was perfect because I got me again. I love it so much. I much like Chainsaw Massacre. I bought every single damn edition. I have the 4K, so I was like, oh, I can bust out my 4K and see how good this film looks.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, it looks amazing. Green screen still on the show, but it still looks amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad we did that right. We've rectified a few of those episodes. Um, but yeah, I've had a couple people I brought into the team who just I thought were a good fit and turns out they weren't. It's happened. Uh, but the people who stuck around, I'm grateful for it.
Yeah, yeah, no, it look and it we've had good times both on the recording and then and at least in between we've had good times even outside of the recording, obviously being friends for as long as we've been. Um And when we visit each other and we're still like having a good time, we'll also be like, oh hey, we have to record this. Oh yeah. Um, which actually, yeah, that's another episode of regret was when we had to do the F9, the Fast Saga. When you visited me in Washington State in the midst of a heat wave in a state that doesn't believe in AC.
Every episode we did that week, I regret. Uh,
Yeah,
except for Toy Story, because that was Austin leading Oscar Sunday and carrying that shit because we were burned out and doing our best. uh yeah, I upgrade. I regret doing that the way we did because I had just walked off a plane. I was on 2 hours of sleep and I couldn't I had nothing to talk about. I had nothing left.
if you want to pull the trigger on redoing upgrade, you don't have to tell me twice because I
I
fucking love
I
it.
will redo upgrade in a heartbeat. I will throw it on on the calendar right now. I owe it to upgrade to do that properly.
Honestly, I know Leigh Whannell's debut was Insidious Chapter 3, which isn't a bad movie by any means, but holy shit, I did not know he had what he had. And when I saw Upgrade, I was like, holy fuck, dude.
Yeah, it's an epic movie. Same with Bad Taste. I think turned out pretty good. Even though again, we were in like 95-degree weather in an apartment that had no air conditioning, where I saw a cat overheat for the first time, and I thought I was gonna die.
Yeah, that was a fun time. Those who don't know, before anyone comes to me like, why didn't you turn your AC on? In the Pacific Northwest, in Washington State at least, I can't speak on behalf of Oregon, but in Washington State, they don't have AC because they're like, well, it's only hot like 2 months of the year and it doesn't get that hot. So they don't put AC in buildings and like houses and apartments and stuff. So yeah, we had a heat wave. It was rarely high 90s, low hundreds, and in an apartment with no AC.
Yeah. So
It
it
sucked.
did get that hot.
It got that hot and we had no means to combat it.
No. We were half naked, incoherent, trying to keep your cat alive by taking him to the car intermittently. That was a rough few days.
Yeah. The cat didn't like it. He was hissing at the cat. That was the closest I think I've seen my cat wanting to kill me. And I'm like, dude, I gotta grab you and take you to the car. I'm sorry.
Oh boy. All right. Yeah, that was fun. I love reminiscing about the podcast. And there's a bunch of moments and episodes and stuff we left out. We're almost to 700 total if you count everything we've done. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of episodes. Shit's gonna fall through the cracks. But those are some of our highlights. Go check it out. Go check all of them out if you want. They're all available to stream on YouTube or every place that podcasts are available.
Yeah. Except the ones we said we regret. You can skip those.
Yeah. Or if you want to hear us at our, admittedly not our best, go ahead.
You want
Because
to hear
it'll
us
just
at
make
our
the rest of our episodes sound so much better.
yeah. You want to hear us at our lowest.
Yeah. I wouldn't put it in my portfolio, but you know what? I That's my voice. I'll admit that.
I would, and then I would make eye contact with the person listening to it the whole time. Just you like that?
Oh, so let's talk about The Shining finally. Uh, my main source for today is the documentary The Making of The Shining, which is featured on the Blu-ray of the film, as well as various interviews with King, Nicholson, and other members of production, and of course, Wikipedia to fill in the gaps. Uh, The Shining began life as the third novel by Stephen King, first published in 1977, was based largely on King's own struggles with alcoholism, and a visit he made to the infamous Stanley Hotel in 1974. Now, this hotel is considerably haunted. It's in Colorado. Room 217, I believe, in the
Two three
hotel.
seven.
It's
I thought it
237.
was
237 in the movie, 217 in real life.
okay. I thought it was 237 in real life also.
No, I have a shot glass from the Stanley that says 217 because that's the room.
Oh shit. Okay.
Kubrick changed it to 237 in his movie. I don't know why he did that. There's no need. There's no reason to do it. It seems like just a slight towards King. I don't.
It probably is, but and Grant, I know we both did not watch the documentary. There's an insane amount of fan theories on all of this stuff. And look, I'm gonna say it right this. I don't believe about half of this. At least half of the damn fan conspiracy theories. I think a lot of it's just Kubrick changing shit to change shit.
Sometimes a director's ego is just a director's ego. He's not admitting that he faked the goddamn moon landing. You nutcases.
Yeah, let's calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
pattern on the floor of the carpet pattern doesn't mean a goddamn thing. It just probably looked really nice.
yeah.
Like
It is
Jesus.
also the carpet pattern for Alamo Drafthouse South Lamar in Austin, which I fucking love. The whole lobby
Yeah.
is decked out to look like The Shining, the Overlook lobby. It's fucking crazy.
There's I think it's Horror Decor. It's a website. I believe they were I don't know if they're still, but you can get like you can get as like a shower curtain and other shit, like rugs and stuff. Yeah.
Of course, I'm gonna have to do that. Uh,
Same.
so here's the story of King's experience in the Stanley that inspired the uh, The Shining. October 1974. Stephen King and his wife Tabitha go to check into the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado. They were the only two guests in the hotel that night, which has got to be kind of scary for one of those old, it's not a Motel 6, it's an old-timey big hotel that can be eerie when it's just you.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were just getting ready to close for the season, so it was just them. Uh, King had been planning a novel called Darkshine, which was about a psychic boy in a psychic amusement park. But the idea never came to fruition. He abandoned his book. And while he was at the Stanley, he started thinking about that story again, particularly Psychic Boy. King and his wife had dinner that evening in the grand dining room, completely alone. They were offered one choice for dinner, which was the only meal still available. I couldn't find what that meal was, but it was all they had. Maybe just go to a different hotel, Steve. Like
I know, right?
you're clearly inconveniencing everybody there.
Why were they so committed to staying there?
I don't know.
I hope there was like a side of sass with that order, like, hey, what do you want? Oh, by the way, since you're the only ones here because we're closing for the season, you only have one option. So what the fuck do you want?
I would have been so passive aggressive about it. I would have been like, if I was the waiter, like, what do you want, sir? And he'd be like, oh, can I get a steak? We're out. Fish, we're out. Uh, Chicken, we're out.
Why are you out of everything? We're closing.
Like, I wouldn't tell them what they can have until they got to it on the menu.
Or unless he just announced, you know, what do you have? Chips and soda.
You can you can have this packet of stale Fritos and you can have a diet right. That's what you can have, Mr. King. And yes, it is room temperature.
We turn the ice off.
Uh, so they had taped orchestral music playing in the room. Theirs was the only table set up for dining. All the other tables had the chairs on top of the table. It was just them.
Almost like they were inconveniencing the entire staff that day.
Like, at what point do you realize, like, we should probably go? Like, this is not. They don't want you here. Uh,
I can understand King being oblivious,
no,
Coke and alcohol, but Tabitha, what was going on with Tabitha?
King's just like gouged out of his fucking head on booze and coke, just like thinking this is amazing service. Like, just thinking this is all like for him.
Yeah. You know, maybe that's why they didn't do anything. They were like, they just took one look and went, just play nice. Just play nice.
I don't even, I won't go to a restaurant if they're like 20 minutes until closing because I don't want to make everyone wait on me when they want to go home.
Yeah, I don't want to be that guy.
No. So this is what King had to say about this. He said, except for our table, all the chairs are up on the tables. The music is echoing down the hall. And it was like God had put me there to hear that and see those things. And by the time I went to bed that night, I had the whole book in my mind. So he's developing The Shining based off his act of inconveniencing an entire hotel staff, which
I like
is
how he's inconveniencing, but at the same time, he's coming up with like one of his best novels. He's like, man, it's like this was meant to be. It's like, no, you're inconveniencing. They're doing their job, and you just happen to show up.
when life hands you a curveball, take it, no matter how many people are going to be irritated by it, I guess, is the life lesson here.
Oh God, I don't know. I don't
Uh,
know. This is funny.
after
Quick,
dinner, his wife did, yeah.
quick side note.
Mhm.
It has nothing to do with like hotel service, but it made me laugh. Um, during a concert, Lamb of God, the singer, and Lamb of God does one. It's like one of your more well known extreme metal bands.
Mhm.
So the singer does like the screaming stuff, Randy Blythe. Super nice guy, because there's a video online now of him. coming up to get back on stage. He was like chilling backstage. I guess like you're waiting for his turn or watching one of their bands play because he does that. And the security lady goes, "Hey, sir, do you have a badge?" And he's like, "No, I don't have a badge." And he's like walking through. And she's like, "But sir, I need your badge." And someone goes in the background, "He's the singer for the band." And she goes, "Oh my God, I'm sorry." And you would think he becomes an asshole and like, yeah, no, you know what he does? He goes, "No, don't be sorry. You're doing your job. You're good. I like you."
Yeah, I love that. That's very different than the story of that same thing happening to Elton John. He didn't take it well. Uh
Yeah, I bet. Good singer, but not the best stories from that man when it comes to how he sometimes treats people.
no,
Um, yeah. So that has nothing to do with it. I just saw that and while we were talking about this. But yeah, nothing to do with inconveniencing an hotel staff. Just thought it was funny.
I love that King seems to be oblivious to this. He seems like he's thinking about like, and oh, the guy's an alcoholic. Oh, the kid has psychic power. And meanwhile, they're like, "Sir, we have your dessert." He's just like, "Yeah, just
Oh,
leave
thank you.
just leave it there. I'm thinking." So after a what I assume is an awkward dinner, uh,
Room service.
his wife decided to go to bed. King took a walk around the empty hotel. Bet they loved that, just walking around.
I would love if like they were just following him, like, go to your fucking room.
Oh, it gets better. Uh, he ended up at the bar, was served drinks. Bartender was still there. He's like, "Can I get a double?" It's like, "Well, all right, I guess."
I was closing up, but sure.
Bartender's name was Grady. So, that's where that came from.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Uh, King describes a dream he had that night while staying in, I assume, was the haunted room. He said, "That night, I dreamed of my 3-year-old son running through the corridors, looking back over his shoulder, eyes wide, screaming. He was being chased by a fire hose. I woke up with a tremendous jerk, sweating all over, within an inch of falling out of bed. I got up, lit a cigarette, sat in a chair looking out the window at the Rockies, and by the time the cigarette was done, I had the bones of the book firmly set in my mind." So the combination of inconveniencing an entire staff or an entire hotel's worth of staff and a nightmare he had about his kid being chased by a hose, you combine all of that and you get The Shining.
Not the story I expected, but okay.
Yeah, sometimes it's better to not know about how the sausage is made. You know what I mean? I don't know if
Yeah,
is the story
how's
going to
that
lose some punch because of this?
how's that even a scary dream? Like, what was your nightmare about? My kid getting chased through by a hose. You cannot tell me the therapist did not try to stifle a laugh after that. Like a hose, you say?
A hose, you say. Uh, yeah. So they went home. King started writing The Shining,
Oh, they
and
finally went home. They stopped inconveniencing the staff.
I'm sure on the way home they decided to stop at several restaurants right before closing and just have a nice snack. Uh, but yeah, once I got back to Maine, he wrote The Shining, and knowing his speed, probably took him about 25 minutes.
Probably, like, dude, the guy's in his 70s and is still. He has a new book coming out this year. I'm sure it's the first of probably two.
Yeah, I heard there was a short story collection with a Cujo sequel in it.
Yeah, which means now I feel obligated that when I buy this book, I need to buy Cujo.
You don't have Cujo?
I don't have Cujo in my collection.
It's like his ultimate Coke binge story, and it's fantastic.
I know he doesn't remember. There's actually quite a bit of books he doesn't remember writing. That being one of them.
At least 3, which is kind of amazing. This is the best of his Coke books.
Yeah, yeah. That's that's awesome. Do you remember anything about the book? Nope, not at all. Yeah, no.
I want to do a bunch of Coke in front of a keyboard, in front of a typewriter, and then wake up a weekend later and see what happened.
Yeah, dude. Look, between King and Tony Montana, Coke can do amazing things. But I'm sure if we tried it, we'd just die.
Yeah, probably. It's not the
I don't
80s.
know how.
In the 80s, it was
Yeah,
perfectly harmless. All it did was help you do other shit.
yeah. It helped you write books and eat bullets.
Ooh, damn.
Scarface reference.
That was dark. Well,
That's what he says in Scarface. Fuck you.
the world is yours.
I I eat your bullets.
I think he said, "I take your bullets."
All right, take your either
That's why
way.
I was confused.
Oh, either way, look, if Scarface taught me anything, if you want to be impervious a little bit longer than usual to bullets, just do a mouse and a cocaine.
Yeah, just like put it, fill like a mixing bowl full of Coke and just dunk your face in there. Breathe heavily for 8 seconds.
Right, dude, look,
Lift your head up.
great movie, but there's no goddamn way in hell you do that much coke and survive. Jesus. And the scene is like he just lifts his head up and looks, and you're like, there's no goddamn way. There's no way.
Oh, okay. So that's where the book came from. Now, where did the movie come from?
The
Stanley
mind of
Kubrick.
Kubrick.
Oh yeah, Stanley Kubrick, the everyone's favorite, perfectly even keeled, reasonable filmmaker.
She only got his shots done in 2 takes.
Yep. Nobody has a bad thing to say about him. Shelley Duvall's living a very peaceful life somewhere. This is
Yeah, very
it's
peaceful.
bizarre world.
Not
Very
needing a handler or whoever the guy is that's always around her.
apparently there's also a bird.
Yeah, she always talks about bird. It's weird.
Stanley Kubrick's film Barry Lyndon was a critical darling, got a bunch of Oscar nominations, failed miserably at the box office in the US. Kubrick realized he needed to make something that was a little bit more of a commercial success, not just critical, wouldn't just, something that doesn't just satisfy his own filmmaking ego. And I'm sure he had other people telling him, like, Stan, movie making is for everybody, and you're letting the side down.
You're not the only one that wants to see this movie here, Stan.
I'm sure Warner Brothers was like, we are not going to invest in you unless you can actually give us something. So, so his solution was
What a blow to his ego. That must have been like, oh, I gotta make something for them. Yeah,
pretty much
you're a filmmaker, yeah. That's what you gotta do.
his solution. He's like, all right, I guess I'll make a horror movie. People like horror movies.
Wow. Wow.
Uh, he had his staff bring him giant stacks of horror novels. And his goal was he's going to read them until he gets one that sounds like it would make a good movie.
I wonder what was in that stack. You know what I mean?
I know The Haunting of Hill House was in the stack and apparently didn't make the cut.
You know what? I'm kind of glad on that because I don't want I wouldn't want his take on that.
No. But this was his
You want a good
yeah.
you want a good adaptation? Mike Flanagan's Netflix show, Haunting of Hill House. Fucking great adaptation.
Mike Flanagan has spent a good chunk of his career inadvertently fixing Stanley Kubrick's mistakes. I find that kind of awesome.
Yes, true. He does have an original film called Hush, but good luck finding it on Netflix because they took it off the service.
Oh, they did.
Yes, and it was a really good movie too.
Does it have a physical release?
Nope.
Oh, God damn it. Well, at least I saw it. I liked Hush.
Yeah, Hush was really good. I quite enjoyed it.
So this is how Kubrick decided to do his research. Tell me if you think this is how a reasonable man decides which story to adapt to film.
Oh boy.
He would pick up a book, he'd read it, and if he wasn't invested in like 1 or 2 pages, he would chuck the book into the wall and build a pile. And his secretary was outside his office just hearing thunk, thunk every few minutes. Because he wasn't just like throwing them to the side, he was fucking chucking them like baseballs. Because this man's insane. He's unhinged.
One of America's greatest directors.
And when she realized she hadn't heard a thunk in quite a while, she realized he probably found a book. And guess what that book was? The Shining.
That's terrifying. That she's just like, it's been kind of quiet. I think he found something.
Yeah, I
Oh,
can't imagine.
never mind.
That would be funny. A little bit. What? Oh, thunk. Ah, damn it. Nope, not that one.
All right. Well, I was hoping he was done finally.
I wonder if this, like, was this just for The Shining or is this how he chose every project? Like,
Dude,
Paths of Glory, The Killing, Full Metal Jacket, Eyes Wide Shut. Were they all just books that he didn't chuck into the fucking wall?
right? Like that's horrifying. Like that is not a normal way. Like 1 or 2 pages, motherfucker. That's like saying you know the age old war with TV, like where people say like usually I at least like watch like a past the pilot, like an episode or two past the pilot, to really get a feel. In some cases, even past the first season, just to get a feel. That's like saying I'm 5 minutes into pilot. Fuck this. Next. Jesus, give it some more time, maybe. You might still not like it, but still give it an actual chance.
That's hilarious. And now I'm choosing to believe this is how one of the most revered filmmakers in history chose his projects. It's like grabbed a random fucking bargain box of books at your local bookstore and just read through them until something
Dude,
clicked.
imagine if he was still alive today and they're like, we need to do this video game adaptation.
He gets past like he's on the start menu. He has to pick a name for his character. And he's like, "Fuck this!" Chucks it out the window like a frisbee.
Oh my God.
He just the more I learn
Yes.
about Stanley Kubrick, the more I'm like, why did anybody let this man do anything? This man was crazy.
He does a music biography. Okay, I'm going hard on this route because this is just hilarious to me. He has like a music biography, like he has to do like, okay, let me check out the Beatles work. And you just hear thunk as he's just chunking CDs he doesn't like into the wall.
I'm picturing the same, but with vinyl. Like he goes to a record store, he just grabs a stack, goes home, doesn't pay for them because he's Stanley Kubrick, and they're like, "Sir, sir," and he's ignoring them. And he goes to his office, sets up the record player. First song, 20 seconds in, you hear like a screech, and the record just flies through the open door into the like office pool.
Why do they say Led Zeppelin's good? This band's crap.
Now I'm picturing like if he went to the cinema, didn't like the movie, does he just go up to the screen and just start like
Thunk.
ripping the damn thing down?
You see a book fly through the fucking empty theater
He brought a
into the
stack of
screen.
books. He just chucks them at the screen. Oh, that's fantastic.
Or
Now
what if he becomes like,
I
what
hope
if,
Stephen King went to the premiere with a copy of The Shining and chucked it at the screen.
art reverse? What if he's actually insane? It's the stereotypical, you just hear boo and him throwing popcorn. This movie sucks.
What if like the genius was like one of several personalities, and one of them was just a absolute inconsiderate dick who did stuff like that, but the other one was this brilliant filmmaker who could do wonders.
Oh
The
my
guy who could
God.
invent the steady cam for this movie.
Is also just an absolute asshole outside of, oh God, wait, just I just saw this. We're going to go on a quick tangent because I saw this clip yesterday and it cracked me the fuck up. Someone pointed out that John Carpenter did not become a cranky old man. He's always been this way. And it's beautiful. They had supporting evidence and it's fucking beautiful. There's an interview when he was doing Halloween. All right. This is supporting evidence. When he was doing Halloween, so as a young Carpenter in his prime, if you will. Not that he ever left his prime, in my opinion. In his prime, being asked about his own personal free time and seeing movies, right? And and he gets asked, well, what about your contemporaries like Spielberg and Lucas? This guy, Carpenter, John fucking Carpenter, in an interview goes, I don't really care for them. I don't think they're that good. And the interviewer's like, I'm sorry, what? And he's like, well, you've seen, he's like, I like Jaws. He goes, they're like, well, so you didn't like Close Encounters of the Kind? He goes, no, I thought it was pretentious. It wasn't that good. I'm like, oh my God. And then he goes, well, what about Lucas? He goes, I really liked American Graffiti. Just no acknowledgement in Star Wars. And they're like, well, okay, what about someone like Altman? He goes, I can't stand his work. He's not a good filmmaker.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my God. I'm like,
Nope.
dude, he's been like this his whole life and it's fucking beautiful.
Starting to understand why he had trouble securing like major studio funding. Because Spielberg was probably like, you give Carpenter a dime, you're not getting Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. So, make your decision. I wonder how many times that happened. No Empire Strikes Back if Carpenter gets anything from you guys. My God, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to share that because I'm like, you know what? Fucking respect. Like, I wouldn't say that shit in an interview if I was a young filmmaker, but fucking respect for just being consistent his whole life.
Pretty much, I don't think he's a grouchy old man. I think he's just grouchy.
I was like, just grouchy.
Just yeah, that's who he is. Uh, so casting. Jack Nicholson was Kubrick's first choice for the role of Jack Torrance. King did not want Jack Nicholson because he figured since Nicholson had just starred in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, he figured the audience would already think Jack was crazy before the mayhem even started. And he was completely right about that.
He was, and I would say he was right about it. I don't think his reasoning was right. I just think the performance, Jack is crazy from the fucking beginning in the performance.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm talking about. That's why I tell people like, look, no, look, I'm not disrespecting Jack Nicholson. The guy is absolutely one of the greatest actors who has ever fucking lived. Um, and I do agree. There is an argument to be made for possibly the greatest. Absolutely an argument to be made. But having read the book, he just plays the part crazy. He's really fucking good in this movie, but he plays the part crazy from the first scene to the end.
I don't blame him in the slightest. I blame the script he was given by Stanley Kubrick and Diane Johnson. That,
Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't, I'm sure he probably gave some notes like, hey, the character in this book's pretty conflicted. Should we maybe do that? And Stan's like, did somebody tell Jack to shut the fuck up, please? Because I'm not going to do
Oh,
it. I'm the director. I have
let me see
people
that
do
book.
that.
Let me see that book. Let me see the book, Jack. Dunk.
Jack walks away. He just gets a fucking paperback to the back of the head. Somebody whispers, hey, Jack, that means he likes you.
You should be honored. Some of us don't even get fed.
My God. Uh, Other actors considered for the role of Jack Torrance. I thought this was interesting. Tell me what you think of these guys. Robert De Niro.
I mean, if you're going for the performance that Jack Nicholson does,
Yeah.
then yes.
And
If you're
remember,
going for
this
actor,
1980 version of these guys.
I still stand by my statement.
Yeah. Like Raging Bull, Robert De Niro as Jack
Yeah.
Torrance. That becomes
Yeah. I'm gonna say if you're going for a book accurate, no. Because even when De Niro, if you look at Taxi Driver, right? Yeah. Sorry,
yes.
there's a movie Taxi and then there's
Driver.
fucking Taxi Driver. It throws me off every time. Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, other films he did back then. I was gonna say Cape Fear, but that was close to the 90s, not way after Shining. Um, Even when he played conflicted characters, there was already a sense of crazy there.
I agree. I think it would be funny to see like an Italian Jack Torrance who's like, oh, this hotel's haunted. I mean, come on, like why are we doing this? I think it'd be funny. But
What if he doesn't drop like the Godfather 2 persona? He just is that. I know it's again after, but still, that'd just be fine to me.
Wendy, darling, light of my life, I'm gonna bash your brains in.
Why do you sound like Christopher Walken?
I don't know. I'm trying to do a Brando, but I'm not Brando because that's what De Niro was doing, and I can't do it. It broke me. I couldn't do it. All right. So De Niro, Robin
Okay.
Williams.
You know what? Maybe. Because a lot of people forget he was an awesome dramatic actor. Fucking awesome dramatic actor.
Eventually, but this is right out. This is right off Mork and Mindy. Robin Williams.
Oh yeah, people would
This is
think
the
he's gonna
same
be
year as
funny.
Popeye. Robin Williams.
Okay, yeah, maybe not. As someone who can speak on behalf of some people I work with that can't take someone like Sandler at this point in his career and accept that he does traumas. Because they're like, oh, if I watch my drama, I expect a punchline. Well, that's your fault. I can't. I'm saying, with that said, I can't imagine someone whose their first two films were these big, high-profile comedies,
Yeah.
and then trying to do that. People would just be like expecting a fucking punchline because apparently audiences can't accept that comedians have a traumatic side.
You ever see 1 Hour Photo?
No, I really want to. I've heard he's really good in that and creepy as fuck.
Dark movie, very dark movie about obsession and like a very interesting character, a sociopath in a weird job that does not exist anymore. You know, the guy who would develop your photos. You never really think about how much trust you put in those guys. They get to watch every part of your life. It's yeah, it was a creepy movie, definitely worth watching. Um,
Yeah, I want to check that one out for sure.
and the third guy, Harrison Ford.
And you know what? Our best option was Jack Nicholson. And again, this is no slight against Harrison Ford. Obviously, in the 80s, this be about when he was really starting to break out and get big. Um and I like Harrison Ford. I usually like him when I see him in. He's not exactly one of the best actors around. I think he's very charismatic. I think he's very good, especially in Indiana Jones. Fucking plays suit. I just don't see him pulling this role off. That's what I mean. He's not bad. He's a good actor. I don't see him pulling this role off. I do think his range is somewhat limited.
Ghosts. Why did it have to be ghosts? Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. Again, I'm not. Yeah, I know. So I was like, no, I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying he's bad. I just think his range is somewhat limited. I don't think he could pull this off.
Well, let me tell you this. There was a backup plan if Jack Nicholson said no. Kubrick
Um,
had somebody lined up to play Jack Torrance if Jack Nicholson had said no, and the choice is kind of astonishing. Chris Christopherson.
that would have been fucking interesting.
Yeah, fucking Abraham Whistler was going to be the backup Jack. That's kind of nuts. And this is, in the midst of his successful country career, he just done A Star Is Born with Streisand, and then he was going to be Jack Torrance. I don't.
I It was funny. Usually when we've done this, right, we name the backups, you can kind of see sometimes. Sometimes you're like, okay, I can see that one. They needed Jack Nicholson because yeah, all these other options, I'm like, even De Niro, who obviously would have the range, could pull it off, like say Cape Fear, shows he can pull off these kinds of, a dark role and Taxi Driver and all that stuff.
No.
Not the kind of conflicted dark though that Jack Torrance is supposed to be.
Yeah, I think if De Niro had done it, it would have been pretty much just like a continuation of Travis Bickle in Taxi Driver. I just don't see the. But then again, Kubrick decided to just not include the, kind father who loses his way side of Jack. So, I mean, since that part's not really going to be in the movie anyway, I don't know. We'll never know.
Yeah, yeah, we'll never know. I think we got the best option because in this rare case, I don't see the other guys doing it, but who knows? Would the movie have been tailored to fit their performance?
Could have been. Well, no, it couldn't have been because Kubrick did not tailor shit around his actors. They
No, no, I
changed
didn't.
themselves for him. He was every frame's a painting exactly the way I want to make it. So get on board kind of director.
Act. I am Picasso, and you are my canvas. So act for me, you sheep.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Am I wrong in how Kubrick already thought like that?
Now, when you make your guys do 128 takes of nonsense, I don't know. Uh,
You know what's crazy? I know like Fincher has that kind of ability where will do a shit ton of takes. But I've also heard better stories about actors dealing with them.
so have I. He has yet to drive anybody into permanent psychosis. So he's got that
Yeah.
against Kubrick.
Yeah. His actors actually want to come back and work with them
Yeah.
willingly.
Only
And
only a handful of actors worked with Kubrick like more than once.
yeah, usually you had to find new people because they're like, okay, we did our one with them.
Off the top of my head, like Kirk Douglas and Philip Stone are like the only two I can immediately think of.
Yeah, yeah.
And Kirk Douglas, like after Spartacus, was like, fuck you forever and did not work with him again. So
You know what? I forgot about Pat Segoy. Fuck you. I'm done.
um Shelley Duvall was cast as Wendy. Kubrick took a unique approach to how he directed her. We talked about that. Uh Wendy's much more fragile and vulnerable in the movie than she is in the novel. she has much more agency in the book. She's actively trying to stop this. In the movie, she's very submissive and just kind of lets Jack walk all over her.
One could argue it might reflect how Kubrick may have thought of women, because he wasn't exactly known for his romantic side.
Yeah, not really. No. In all of his movies, women do not come off as very strong. I've never really thought about that. God, the strongest female character he's got is fucking Lolita, isn't it?
Yep.
Oh,
I don't know
that's
if you know this about me, but outside of horror, I actually really do like Stanley Kubrick films a lot, so I picked up on things.
well, isn't that something to know? Good for you.
Yeah. Doctor Strange, fucking awesome movie.
Doctor
Oh,
Strange is a
Doctor
great
Strange.
movie, but Kubrick
Or
made Doctor Strange
Doctor
Love.
Strangelove. Doctor
So,
Strangelove.
way to completely shoot all your credibility right in the ball
Yeah.
right there.
Doctor Strange love, or how I sold the it has a much longer title than it needs to have.
Dude,
Um,
you are bombing right now.
hey, nice.
Oh, that wasn't
Yeah,
on purpose.
got what you did there. But yeah, no, Doctor Strangelove with Peter Sellers and Slim Pickens. Yeah, Slim Pickens.
Slim Pickens.
Um and fuck. God damn it.
You want me to just continue?
No, 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 no. He played Patton. God damn it.
George C. Scott.
Thank you, George C. Scott.
It you went into this conversation with such confidence.
I actually really do like Stanley Kubrick films.
I'm sure you do.
And Doctor Strangelove, I've watched numerous times. I think it's a fucking hilarious movie.
It is. It is really, really funny. I love Doctor Strangelove. Oh,
We
thank
can't
you.
find here. It's the war room. They have big planes and they go like this.
I love when he's like when George C. Scott's like saying something, he's like in the midst of a monologue and he just fucking trips and like fully falls over and then stands up and just keeps going. That was not on purpose. That just
Oh, I,
happened. Yeah.
I, I, I heard. I hope it's true that apparently Kubrick told him, "Oh yeah, these are all the fucking rehearsal takes. Just be as goofy as you want to be."
Yeah.
And then those were the takes he used for the movie because George Scott just couldn't play ball and be like funny to be funny. You know, he's a serious actor.
Yep.
Um,
That is true.
yeah, I was like, that's fucking hilarious, man.
It's my favorite role of his. Yeah. I when they're like, what when the world does end and they say like we cannot abide like a what was it? Like there's
My Oh, now you're shooting yourself in the foot. Okay, my fur.
I
I can
didn't
walk.
conjure Marvel's best magician to start talking about this movie, so I think I'm in a better spot
Look,
than you were.
fun fact: Stanley Kubrick came back from the dead and directed Doctor Strange.
Oh, changed his name to Scott Derrickson. It was like ignore the fact that I'm a bloated corpse and just let me direct this movie.
Act for me, you sheep.
You sheep. Oh, I'm gonna find that line.
Oh god damn it! But yeah, no, all his life when the bomb's getting ready to go off, and Peter Sellers and like one of his three damn roles in that movie,
Yeah. We
is
must
like,
not allow a mine shaft gap. That's what it was.
oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But when he's like, my fur, I can walk, and the bomb goes off.
Yeah. It's yeah, I love Doctor Strangelove. Um, the scene where Shelley Duvall is walking backwards up the stairs with the bat was allegedly shot 127 times, and I guess at the time may have been considered by the Guinness Book of World Records for the most amount of reshoots a single scene has ever had in a movie. Uh,
I'm gonna say it. Usually, I'm impressed with Guinness World Records. I'm not impressed because all I can think is why, and what a waste of a day, in my opinion. Because if everyone knows what filmmaking is, that's pretty much they only shot that fucking scene probably the whole day. Like, why? That's a fucking waste.
I'm picturing the Guinness people showing up while he's berating Shelley Duvall, and they're just like, "Congratulations, you're in the book," and she's just like, "Are you really?"
Does anyone want to speak up for me? No, no, you.
The
We're
Guinness person
congratulations.
just like pats her on the head and like pushes her out of the way. Like this is for the director.
Move.
Excuse me. I don't know why that made me laugh so hard. Oh God. I did a little additional research. Apparently, that's nowhere near the most takes a film's ever had for one shot.
I, sorry, I have now the song "Move, Bitch, Get Out the Way." Get out. It's stuck in my head.
I'm picturing somebody like they're walking towards a crowd. They're like super extra, they're like, they got a cape on, like a cool hat. They think they're the coolest motherfucker on earth. Somebody's in their way, and they just stand there. They pull out their phone, they go to their music, they type it in, ludicrous. They start playing it. As soon as the chorus goes, move, bitch. They just shove the guy. That's how they do things.
God damn it.
Oh boy. Uh, so I believe there's conflicting reports about this, but apparently the most shots ever taken from for a single scene in a movie is actually Charlie Chaplin's City Lights. Uh, Allegedly, he made the lead actress do a scene where she hands him a flower over 400 fucking times
Why?
because he's a monster. He's hilarious. He's a comedy pioneer, but as a human being, Charlie Chaplin is a garbage piece of shit monster we should not be celebrating. Celebrate the work as much as you want, but as a person, he did horrendous shit to everybody. He was
I
awful.
heard. Yeah, I heard it was terrible.
Yeah. But City Lights is funny as hell.
It's a really funny movie.
Yeah. I hope he didn't use like take like 7.
Oh my God, he used take one.
I'd kill him if I was her and he made me do that 400 times and then used like one of the first 20 takes. I would have shot him in the face and like left the corpse on set so everyone could see it. And then you know what I do? I give the fucking corpse a flower. Um, so weirdly, despite being very aggressive towards Shelley Duvall, he was very protective of Danny Lloyd, who played Danny Torrance. Weird that he didn't just cast somebody named Wendy to play Wendy, since you got Jack and Danny, right? Um,
Right?
Kubrick had him convinced they were making a drama. Danny Lloyd had no fucking clue they were making a horror movie.
I don't know how in some scenes when I watch it, I'm like, how the fuck did he convince that kid that
Yeah. So that's not blood. That's fruit punch. It's
ketchup?
it's a dream sequence. You're dreaming about fruit punch.
The twins do actually want to play with you.
Yeah. Jack's not attacking the guy with an axe. He's giving him a very admittedly kind of painful hug.
It's how adults wrestle outside the bed.
This is this is how we say goodbye in Colorado. I don't know. Like, not once did Danny be like, "This movie's kind of weird."
It's
Uh,
so weird to see him be like, God damn it, Shelly, I need the scene like this. Hey Danny, how are you doing? You good over there? You need apple juice? Okay.
it reminds me of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets when the Weasleys come home after the car, and Mom's like super pissed at them, but it's also like, "Harry, how you doing? Good to see you. Do you want some breakfast?"
Yeah.
But she's screaming at her kids. Like, people can compartmentalize. It's weird.
It's weird.
Uh, King famously hated the film, calling it a quote maddening, perverse, and disappointing film. Said it was a great big beautiful Cadillac with no motor inside. Basically, like, it looks great, but there's no substance in this at all.
Tell us how you really feel, Steve.
He's been on so many talk shows, just ranting about this movie, especially in the 80s.
Yeah, and he doesn't stop. I mean, there's a reason that if this movie gets talked about in more recent documentaries, King's not involved.
Weirdly, on the Bravo's 100 Scariest Movie Moments, he did have positive things to say.
Huh. They paid him good. I'm starting to be determined that if they pay him enough, he just says positive things. Kind of like James Cameron with Terminator for so long. Like I'm almost positive they were just paying them enough money.
Well, yeah, everyone's got their price, especially, oh, you already did the hard part. You wrote the book. You made the movie. Just say, "Oh, it was pretty good." $2 million.
Yeah, you know who wanted to play ball though?
Hmm.
John Carpenter.
No, he'll be like, "Fuck your movie," and take the check.
Yeah,
He'll
he'll
cash the
let them.
check and then he'll badmouth your movie.
Yeah, he'll be like, "Oh yeah, I'll play ball." They'll give him that check as soon as it's cash, and they get ready to film. Yeah, I don't like that movie. That director sucks. And they're like, "What the fuck?"
In fact, get this: they paid me to say something awesome about their movie. How shitty is that? Like he would turn it into
Yeah,
a whole thing.
yeah. He goes, "I cashed it already." What does that say about them?
You know what I bought? I bought this trophy for like a gold statue that says like best movie ever, and like hands it to them. Oh,
Now, can I go back to my couch and play video games?
yeah. He
It's
bought that.
basketball season.
He bought the statue and like 15 cartons of cigarettes. Um, The Shining has an IMDb score of 8.4, Rotten Tomatoes score of 83%, audience score of 93%. Critics' consensus reads, though it deviates from Stephen King's novel, Stanley Kubrick's The Shining is a chilling, often baroque journey into madness, exemplified by an unforgettable turn from Jack Nicholson. I agree, RT, quite baroque.
I was like, they actually had me. I was like, okay, yeah, yeah. And then they go, often baroque. It's like they can't help themselves. They have to say something that just makes us sound stupid.
Pretty much, like they're just not happy unless they're sticking their dick in the jello at the party. I I,
Yeah.
I don't understand.
They started off strong. I was like, yes, it does deviate. Chilling. I see what you did there. I like a good little pun. And then they go, but often baroque. Well, fuck you. I gotta look that word up, asshole.
There was a that reminded me of we have a lot of tangents here, but and I don't care. Um, there's a scene from Third Rock from the Sun, which is a sitcom from the '90s that I love, and there's an episode where Dick Solomon, John Lithgow's character, gets in a feud with a fellow teacher at the university because their kids are dating each other, and the other guy doesn't like that. And he says, "I don't want my daughter palling around with your ragamuffin son." And Dick stands up like, "Ragamuffin?" He says to his family, "Sally, throw him out. Harry, bring me a dictionary." I love that.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
um, Amazingly, The Shining was nominated for 2 Razzie Awards: Worst Director for Stanley Kubrick and Worst Actress for Shelley Duvall, which is just kicking
And
someone while they're down.
there goes the Razzie's long-standing controversy of not having any kind of fucking tact.
They later rescinded this after all of the information about how Kubrick treated her came out, but took a few years.
It took a few years, and it's not the first time they've done that. They got in a lot of hot water because they nominated a fucking kid actress for a Razzie that had died, and they still nominated her. And people were like, "Dude, are you fucking serious?" They took it back. They were like, "Oh, we're sorry." And it's like, "Yeah, why did you even do it, you fucking idiots?"
Did they think that was going to play well? Like people were going to be like, "Ah, I get it." No.
Ha, you guys are funny. No, yeah, they do shit like this all the time. And look, you know, I've said what I've said before about the Oscars and I feel about that. I actually really fucking hate the Razzies. At first, I remember thinking like, oh, that's kind of funny. Like, let's do the worst because they're doing the best. But the more I looked into it, they're honestly worse than the Oscars. Razzies are fucking scum.
Yeah.
Absolute fucking scum.
Say what you want about the Oscars, at least every nomination they've ever given has been in good faith and a praise of the work.
Yeah. And even their more bureaucratic decisions have at least been for what they think are good movies in some degree.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, look, I may not be the biggest Oscar defender, but I can at least say also Razzies are scum, they suck, and they should go the fuck away.
Just like the Golden Globes. I agree. The Shining was a modest success, didn't quite take Kubrick to lofty box office fame. Was grossed 47 million on a budget of 19 million, so kind of like, a
I would
little.
love WB. It's just what the newspaper. God damn it, Stanley. We gave you something to make a box office and you still fucked it up.
Yep. And that executive better duck because he's about to get a paperback to the forehead.
Are you hearing that office after that yelling is thunk?
Oh, well, can't win them all. At the time, this was I think like at the time this was pretty much considered like his worst film.
Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, people were kind of like, no, they didn't do well. Did okay. It's since been reevaluated as one of the greatest horror films of all time. We all know that. And his worst film for me is easily Killer's Kiss. So yeah,
I haven't seen that one.
it's
I
boring.
thought you were gonna say Eyes Wide Shut, maybe. But
I don't know. You know, you give me an orgy, you're gonna get me on your side. But Killer's Kiss was just boring and nonsensical and really didn't have much direction. It was like his second movie, so it really was he was still figuring it out.
yeah, that's fair.
I thought Eyes Wide Shut was boring, but I just didn't know what the hell Killer's Kiss was supposed to be. Uh,
Eyes Wide Shut's boring. It's mostly famous for it being his last film, and there's an orgy that got heavily edited from what apparently he filmed.
True. I'm trying to think. Like, I think I liked everything else. But no, wait. I can't stand 2001: A Space Odyssey. I always forget that.
I also that's one I haven't seen that one. It's mostly because I do feel like I'll be in the camp that would probably find it overrated, but I'd just be like, oh, okay, this isn't. I don't get why people say it's so good.
Watch it. We can hate it together. I have no support. I need I need someone else to hold this picket line with me, or I'm gonna lose this strike.
You're like Holder right now. Hold the door.
It is hard to be
Speaking,
the guy who finds this like super critically acclaimed movie boring as fuck and can't get on board. It sucks, but
dude, doesn't it fucking suck when
I'm
you
not gonna
watch a
compromise
classic?
myself for
Yeah,
yeah.
dude, does that fucking when you watch a class? It's not like I'm trying to hate a classic film, but sometimes there's some I've watched where I'm like, I don't like this like everyone else does, and they're like, and you tell someone, especially when you go to film school, my God, and you tell someone, and they're like, oh my God, what? You don't like the Titan? You don't like Titanic? What the fuck is wrong with you? I'm like, I just don't find it as entertaining as everyone else does. Holy shit.
You know what the best defense you can have for that? Have a bring your backpack. Have a backpack just filled with paperback books. And anytime someone calls you out on anything, just chuck it right at their fucking forehead.
Yeah, right.
Thunk. That's for you.
Yeah. I said Titanic, so I was like the big one when I told people, I'm like, yeah, my favorite scene is actually when the tragedy happens and hits the iceberg. The film gets exciting for me. I've never latched onto the film. And everyone's like, oh my God, it's one of the greatest love stories. It's amazing. How could you? Paint me nude, whatever the fucking line is. I can't remember it right now.
It ain't
Paint me
paint
like
me
one of your
nude.
schoolgirls. Paint me like one of your schoolgirls, yeah.
No,
Uh,
no, that's worse.
it
Draw
is
me
worth
like one of your French girls. It's
that's
not
still
paint me
bad.
nude, and it's not draw me like your schoolgirls. I don't like
I
the
don't think
implication
the
of that.
act I don't think the actual line is any better than any of that.
I
um,
I'm with Titanic. I think is okay. I don't think is. I think it's weird to make a fake love story that takes place during a very real historical
oh, tragedy,
disaster.
yeah.
I have the
And
same problem with Pearl Harbor.
yeah, and I always tell people, I'm like, guys, see, and then the argument I always use on that one, I'm like, guys, you really want to come at me on this? You really want to have this fight with me? Watch anything James Cameron did pre-Titanic and watch anything he's on post, and you tell me what's fucking better. I was like, because pre-Titanic kicks ass. Terminator 1 and 2, Aliens, True Lies, The Abyss. Need I keep going? We'll ignore Piranha 2. Um, we know he is. But then Titanic onward, Avatar. Yay.
Exclusively. And he only made Titanic because he wanted the funding to be able to go down there with a little submarine to take a look at it.
Yeah, that was it. And his didn't implode.
That's because he didn't fucking build it himself in a garage.
Yeah, I
No
know.
sympathy for those dipshits at all.
Yeah. He raised the bar.
Yes, he did. He did it for us.
James
Um,
Cameron, James Cameron.
I can't say James Cameron without thinking James Cameron anymore.
Cameron.
Fucking South Park ruined that for me. It's a reflex now.
Ah,
Uh,
it really is. But it's one of the worst things when it's like it's a classic film of any capacity, and you're like, I'm not that hot on this like everyone else is, and they're just like, what? Oh, shit. Okay, shouldn't have said that.
It's not right to shame people for their likes and dislikes. Film is subjective. Not everyone's going to be on board with every film ever made. Get that through your thick heads.
Yes, and with that, just because it's a classic does not mean everyone's going to fucking like it. I am not saying to go out the win because I know I won't like it.
I'm gonna, cause I should. Um, take
That's
those
fair.
lessons with you next time you get on my ass for not liking fucking. He got killed in the woods by this dude, number five.
Okay, first off, how dare you besmirch the greatness of Friday the 13th and any 80s slasher at that point? And also, no, I will take my advice and promptly ignore it the moment you tell me you don't like something that I love.
You're like if at the end of A Christmas Carol, Scrooge told the ghost to fuck off.
That's what Scrooge should have done.
What? What? No. What? Oh, oh my God.
The ghost won't have a chance to maybe like, no, fuck off. Get away from me.
My money. That kid can burn.
What has he done for me?
Oh my God. They did a Blackadder Christmas special where three ghosts visit the kindly Blackadder because he's too nice. And these ghosts try to convince him to be a bit of a prick. It was funny. They succeed. At the end, he's like, fuck this. I don't want to do anything for anybody. I'm living for me now.
I was about to say, you're gonna say I'm the ghost trying to make him a prick? Like that would be me. No, fuck
Yeah,
that kid, dude.
the ghost of Christmas present being like, come on, just like throw a book at that kid.
That would be me. You know you wanted it. Come on.
Oh my God. Stephen King and Mick Garris teamed up in 1997 to make a TV miniseries remake of The Shining. This version is far more accurate to the book, stars Steven Weber as Jack Torrance and Rebecca De Mornay as Wendy Torrance. It's not readily available, is on the verge of
Mhm.
getting a Blu-ray release. Uh, you can
Sometime this
find,
month.
yeah,
Sometime I forget the date, but sometime this month from Shout Factory. They're doing a Blu-ray of it. It's bare bones, I believe. It's just the special. I don't think there's any special features, but it's the best possible quality for something that Mick Garris himself has said is he's been very disappointed that it's only been stuck on DVD. So, um, yeah, and I think that's also been getting some reappraisal in recent years. I remember seeing it advertised as a kid. I think it kind of came and went. I don't know. I was a kid when it came out. It could have been a huge ratings hit. I'm not sure. Only Mick Garris actually would know that because he fucking directed and was obviously paying attention. Um, but I've been seeing a lot of love for that one in more recent years because of how faithful it is, and I've heard a lot of good things. So hopefully now it being on Blu-ray, it becomes a good quality, gets put on streaming, and I can check it out or just pull the trigger and blind buy the Blu-ray.
I want to say March 12th, I believe is the date I read. Um, which is pretty cool. If only back in 2019 I decided I won't record it this week, I'll do it next week. We could have had time to, yeah. But I didn't know that. I do have a copy of this on DVD. I have it in a triple feature I got at Target a long time ago that also came with the 1990 It and the 2004 Salem's Lot. Uh, so I was able to watch it again for this. I hadn't seen it since I was a kid, and I gotta say, it's not great. It's it's too much. It's too much.
Mm.
It's three discs, an hour and a half each. It's four and a half
Well,
hours.
it was a mini series.
I know, but so was it, and I felt like that was a good pace. Um, the whole first disc is build up. Shit doesn't really start happening until the second half of the second disc. But once it does start happening, it's not scary, but it is very engaging. Steven Weber saves it. He is a absolutely fantastic Jack Torrance.
I've heard he's really good as Jack Torrance.
I love him because I've always liked Steven Weber. He has this like smarm about him where he's just like, I don't know. He seems like he could get away with anything. Uh, but he plays the, Jack Torrance as an alcoholic, trying to do better, trying to save his family, trying to keep shit together. He plays that side, and you really believe it as the hotel starts taking him over. It's not a heel turn. It's very gradual, very believable until it explodes, and you're just like, okay. And Rebecca De Mornay plays a much stronger and willing to rock the boat, Wendy.
Okay, okay, yeah. I'll have to. I really want, especially now that Blu-ray's coming out. I really do want to check it out. So
I'll probably pick up that Blu-ray as well. Um, Mike Flanagan adapted King's sequel novel Doctor Sleep in 2019, somehow convincing King to allow him to make the movie a sequel to Kubrick's film. We heard how. Turns out, just appeal to the man's fucking humanity by understanding that he wrote the book to help better himself and his situation with his kids.
Yeah. And Austin, I still stand by it. You're wrong. This is a good movie.
Well, the result was a haunting return to the Overlook, starring Ewan McGregor as a grown-up Dan Torrance who helps a powerful young psychic girl named Abra evade capture from an evil cult who feeds on kids' shine. It was a box office failure, but a pretty good movie. It was not
Yeah,
marketed very
fuck.
well.
Yeah, fuck the audience on that one hard. Like how god damn it.
Admittedly, I have never been a fan of the title Doctor Sleep. I never liked that. I thought even for the book, this is not a great title. I think that retitling the movie, maybe like, Overlook or something like that, might have brought people more on board.
Well, that and I think the marketing wasn't the best. And again, for anyone who doesn't know, a lot of times the marketing is beyond the creative's control. It's a whole separate department. They get handed the footage, they get kind of a brief telling of what the film is, and they just take the footage and go, okay, cool, and they put a trailer together. There's not a lot of talking between them.
I love the
Usually.
trailer for Doctor Sleep too. Like I knew immediately, like, oh, we're going back to the Overlook and the use of the
I
music.
I knew that, but I'm saying like they were relying very much on like, hey, we're making a sequel to The Shining, but that appeals to a very at that point like older audience. How do you get the young kids in that may not really know or have seen The Shining? You know what I mean?
I know. I'm just saying that as a fan, I loved the trailer and was super excited for this. And I felt like
Oh, yeah. Hey, look, I can say fuck the audience on that because guess what? I was there. I was there opening fucking weekend
me
to
too.
go see that. I was excited.
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
was
oh my
there.
God.
I was there Thursday night, largely empty theater, barely anybody in there. I remember being surprised at that. I was like, "What? I thought this was going to be pretty big." And yeah, I think Austin and I did a bonus episode on that. I think he liked it then. Uh
Oh, so his mind has changed. Interesting.
yeah, he grew as a human being. How weird is that?
No, I don't like it.
I don't like it. That's distressing. Uh well, with that, let's take a look at The Shining. So we have best scene, best performance, best music moment, and best line. Where would you like to start with The Shining?
That's a tough one. Let's see performance.
Yeah, let's get this out of the way right now. Does anybody beat Scatman Crothers?
I was gonna say Danny Lloyd, but okay.
They're great, but this is Jack's movie 100%.
Oh, this checks. It Nicholson, like I said, like what he is required to do for the character in the movie, he fucking nails.
Yeah. There's long
Yes.
stretches where he just doesn't blink or he is clearly just channeling some kind of psychosis. It's fantastic. There's never a moment where I doubt that he's like that where I there's not a moment where I doubt that he's not in control of his actions at all.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
yeah, it's unnerving. It's
He's
great. He became one of cinema's greatest villains with this movie.
yeah, he completely sells a psychotic breakdown like I've never seen before.
Yeah.
And yes, you can make the argument that he's already kind of crazy. Like you we have that one interaction he has with his son in the car where it's like even that is supposed to be a nice, sweet interaction. It doesn't feel like it. Um,
For me, I love all the little subtle moments in the first half of the movie where you see that if he's not crazy, he's clearly resentful. And like when Wendy wakes him up at like 11 o'clock with breakfast, and she's like, he says like he's trying to figure out how to start writing, and she's like, it's just a matter of sitting down and doing it. And he looks at her like, yep, that's all it is, with these eyes of like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
yeah. Paul, we wouldn't be here right now if that's all it was.
I got to say though, as a writer, it's not that hard. Just
It's
sit down
not.
and do it. If you want to be a writer, write. It's that easy.
That's what King says all the time. Granted, at the same time, I do know for a lot of people, writer's block is real. It happens.
Writer's block
Uh,
is real. So you know what you do? You do the Coen brothers approach. When you have writer's block on a project, write another project.
also, that's what a lot of people I know who write will say. They just say work on something else, and
That's
eventually
how
it will come to you.
that's how Barton Fink came about. That was what they were writing when they got stuck on Miller's Crossing, and they ended up with two amazing movies.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, dude, Jack Nicholson just there's a reason he's so well known. It's considered, now one of his. I think put this in like their top five films from him. I say a lot of people do that with him, and you get it. It makes perfect sense. He is fucking phenomenal in this film. No, it's like I said, it's not a fucking accurate portrayal of the Jack we get in the book. But what we're getting in the movie, he is absolutely giving everything. And when we do get to the more showy parts, when he's finally fully lost it,
yeah,
dude, it is something to behold.
yeah. It's weird that Kubrick read the book, he talked to King, but at the end of the day, he clearly didn't know Jack. Uh, yeah. And Shelley Duvall's no slouch. I think she's doing a great job considering she was also in the midst of serious emotional stress at the time.
Yes, she's really all three of her are people like Shelley Duvall is really good, and I do want to absolutely give her flowers for what she went through and for the performance she gives because she is really good in this movie. You believe this is someone that is trying to do their absolute best in this entire situation, right? Like yes, she makes that comment like, "All you gotta do is sit down and write," and you can tell she doesn't mean it from like this real mean, like trying to be rude to him. She's doing what she thinks is helpful.
Yeah. She
Because
literally just brought him breakfast in bed at 11 o'clock.
yeah, she is very much a loving wife. You can tell she's a very good mom. She very much cares and loves her son.
Yeah.
Um, and
Also, if you notice, she's the only one doing the job. Jack he doesn't do shit with the hotel. He never does the caretaker job once. Wendy's the one doing all the work. She's the one checking the boiler. She's the one heating parts of the hotel. She's the caretaker.
yeah, and he doesn't. If you I noticed once he gets to the hotel, he doesn't really do shit with Danny. Like she's the one that takes him out to go run around and keep him entertained because she knows he's a kid stuck in a fucking hotel for months. Like he needs to be entertained.
The only real interaction they have is when he sits Danny down and has that very weird I'd never do anything to hurt you, don't you, buddy? Like looking at him like with these eyes of like I'm gonna kill you in your sleep. It's so creepy, and Jack's doing such a great job just showing like how fucking nuts he's getting.
Yeah, God, yeah, she's pulling in a really phenomenal performance in her own right, considering what she had to go through to get the performance and what is being asked of her character
Yeah.
in the movie. She's doing great.
She
Um
she's having to play a seriously distressed and emotionally drained woman at the who's fending off the unwelcome advances of a nutcase who wants to see her in great pain. I'm sure it was not a stretch to have to play that character.
no, I'm pretty sure it was easy on that set. Um and also look, I know, people like to shit on child actors quite a bit for some reason.
They sucked.
Um okay, don't adding to the problem. Thanks, Connor.
Hey,
Um
I'm just saying, if Tatum O'Neal and Anna Paquin can win Oscars when they're like 10 and 12, that means child actors can be good. We just don't see it happen a lot.
Okay. I hope you never have a child that gets into acting because sweet
I would
Jesus.
never do that to them. That's a vicious industry.
Yes, it's true. But with that said, I do want to give a lot. I also want to give a shout out to before we talk about Scatman Crothers, because I do actually want to talk about him quite a bit. I do want to give a shout out to Danny Lloyd. I do think he's really good in this film. He
Yeah.
sells that of an innocent kid that has this ability that he doesn't know how to handle. He absolutely sells it. He sells the terror scenes when he's doing the little Tony voice and stuff. Yeah, it's a legitimately like kind of almost creepy performance from him where you're like, dude, what is especially because in the film you're talking about, is it like just him putting on the thing, or is there an actual like what the fuck's going on with this kid? Like he does good. He is asked to do a lot and he delivers every single time throughout the movie.
The movie really doesn't tell you what Tony is, by the way. The book and the miniseries reveal that Tony is actually future Danny, like sending messages back from his psychic channels, letting him know, like, hey,
That's right. I forgot about that because I don't think they touch on that in Doctor Sleep like at all.
Anthony is Danny's middle name. So Tony.
That's right.
That's the big reveal. Also, Red Rum is just there in the movie. That really bothers me actually, that in the movie Red Rum never comes up except for one moment where Danny's just screaming it. There's no purpose
Yeah,
behind it.
there's purpose in the book. I remember
Yeah.
the very basic. Even when I read the book, I'm like, red room. I wonder what that means. And then it's revealed in the book, like, hey, this is it. And I was like, oh shit, why didn't I see that? I'm an idiot.
Moida.
Yeah. I
Uh,
was like, oh fuck.
some other big changes. In the movie, Jack chases him with an axe. In the book, it's a croquet mallet.
Yeah.
Uh,
The hedges are haunted.
Yep, there's no hedge maze. There's hedge creatures that come to life, but Kubrick nixed that because he knew that they could never do that convincingly with the technology of the time. So that was a good call.
That was a good call, yeah. And the ending's way different. In the book, they blow up the hotel. Something that Doctor Sleep movie went with,
Yes.
or actually rectified by putting it in the Doctor Sleep movie,
Yeah.
I should
Jack
say.
Jack overcomes the demons of the Overlook and himself to get his son out of there and then takes down the boiler and he sacrifices himself to save his family. Like it's a good ending for him. Jack is not the villain of the book.
Yeah, he becomes a villain, but then has that last minute redemption to become the hero.
Yeah. The
Uh,
Overlook is very much the villain of The Shining.
yes, and for those who are into their king, a villain in general, have you read Billy Summers?
Not yet, no.
There's a really cool reference to the hotel.
Cool.
Really, I don't want to ruin how they do it, but there's a cool reference. So it's very much like the hotel in general is kind of like in the World of King novels and the King written language of his stuff
Mhm.
is very much like an overarching like villain that gets referenced from time to time.
Yeah, I've heard rumors and not rumors, but theories that the spirit of the Overlook is just yet another form taken by Randall Flagg
Ooh, that's interesting.
to absorb powerful children and become stronger.
Ooh, oh, interesting. Actually, no, that tracks. If
Yeah.
that would be true.
Mhm.
Um, okay, interesting.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah, let's talk about Scatman.
Scatman Crothers, a man
Brothers.
who was also driven to serious physical pain because Kubrick made him do a bunch of shit that was unnecessary, just constant takes, and this man hurt because of it.
Well, what we got, he is awesome as Dick. He is another part to me that I've always remembered strongly from this film since I first saw it. He is Dick Halloran. Um, and look for because I know we mentioned it with the whole Doctor Sleep thing. They also obviously, I think it was Alex Esso, I think was the actress name that portrayed Wendy in Doctor Sleep.
Mhm.
I forget who played Dick in Doctor Sleep, but they got
It was Carl Lumbly, who is a known voice actor who played Martian Manhunter in the Justice League cartoon.
that's right. Okay, yeah. To their credit, both of those actors, bravo for bringing those characters to life and being as close as possible to them. Because it was just, even though I knew obviously wasn't Scatman Crothers and Doctor Sleep, he had long been deceased. Um, it was still cool to just see that character again because Stickish to me is just a really cool character in the books. I love him in the movie. I hate that he dies, but I love him in the movie.
Doesn't die in the book.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware. That's why I said I hate that he dies in the
And it
in
was
the movie.
cool that he popped up randomly in It.
Yeah, that's right. He does pop up. Yeah.
Yeah. Usually I don't exactly welcome a surprise dick, but in this case I was more than happy to enjoy that surprise.
This surprise dick was warranted.
Yes. One thing I really wish Kubrick had kept in this movie, there's a recurring line in The Shining. It's all over the miniseries because clearly it meant a lot to King. Whenever Jack was abused by his father as well. It's a cycle. And whenever Jack would be abused, his father would say something to the extent of, "Now, pup, are you going to take your medicine?" And Jack would then say that to Danny when he goes evil and is chasing him. That comes up in Doctor Sleep. Jack's ghost says that to Dan. Are you going to take your medicine? I really wish that line had made it into this movie because I love that line. It's so creepy. There's so much history, family history in that phrase that really I think would have just added to the story.
Oh yeah. I can't remember. Was that line used in Doctor Sleep?
Yeah.
The movie?
When Dan is at the bar and talking to Jack Lloyd, and Jack starts talking about how this is medicine. This is the cure for the mundane life that we all have to lead, and are you going to take your medicine? And then he like
That's where I was like,
flings the glass away.
yeah. See, again, Austin, the scene getting to the heart.
I love that you keep going after Austin. He's not here to defend himself.
I know I'm waiting for the text that I'll inevitably get. It's like when I would show you like, hey, watch Old Boy, and then like 2 hours later I get like, dude, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah, that's what I was waiting for.
Let's go to music. This is a score by Wendy Carlos and somebody else whose name escapes me. Uh, it's a perfect horror movie score, just the right amount of terror and dread and eeriness. I have written down just the opening credits to start. I love just the boom, boom, boom. That's some creepy shit. That just gets you right in the zone of all right, this is gonna be scary.
Yeah, dude, especially with like the tracking shots
Mm.
that they're doing to kind of almost it's almost like a feeling of like you're driving to hell. Like
Yeah,
that's what the hotel is, right? You're driving to it, and the music's just boom, boom. It's this somber, just get ready, like you're going to a very bad place. You do not want to be here when it's off season. One thing when it's on season, there's a whole bunch of people filling it up, but you do not want to be here alone.
I love the idea of hell having like a certain amount of time during the year where it's like a resort.
Yeah,
It's like it's sandals for like 6 months, and then for 6 months it's nonstop torture and monsters and demons and hell. But the other time it does a great margarita, and the Chad will make you a mai tai if you ask nicely.
you see just like a demon drinking a Mai Tai in the background. It's like, oh no, no, sorry, I'm not. Don't mean to scare. I'm on vacation right now.
I would love if on the off season, like during resort season, the demons are the staff. Like the demon Azrael will like you know make you a non-alcoholic daiquiri if you have a drinking problem, but they still want you to have fun.
Yeah. So like, you're not gonna scare us? No, 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 no. We take a break during the season.
I'm just picturing a demon with a cocktail shaker, like just shaking a martini, but it's like a monstrous legions of hell. Oh, thank you for that.
You're welcome. Yeah, no, dude, I work. This is one of the easiest times I've had with music. So usually I kind of have a hard time because scores are in a lot of movies are used kind of like sparingly enough, except to accentuate certain scenes, obviously. But this one is just like there's so many good moments, in the film. I had the opening music as well. Um,
Very nice. Real quick,
what-
the other person who composed the score was Rachel Elkind. I just wanted to make sure I didn't leave her out.
oh yeah, okay, yeah. Uh, One scene I do have is the music that's playing. It's the scene when Jack is just s- staring and the camera's just on his face.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah,
doing this like weird, almost like Pyle from Full Metal Jacket, kind of like I think it's called the Kubrick stare. It's in a lot of his movies.
it is. It's like yeah, the same yeah, that scene and the music that's playing is so fucking creepy and just like really driving home like what's going on in his head, the mental degradation that's happening right now.
You imagine if like Wendy looked in and just saw Jack just like staring her like through her fucking soul. I'd be concerned. Have I ever wandered into somebody I cared about look like staring at a window like that? I'd have to do something about it.
I would have a weapon on me
Hmm.
in case.
Yeah. Um, I have I wrote it down. I wrote it down as Jack gets that dick. It's when he kills Dick Halloran. Uh, it's the kind of like noisemaker part of the score that starts when that happens, and then it pops up again whenever Wendy sees a ghost, and it's
Yeah.
like the oh shit kind of music. And
Mhm.
I love that. And if this is the first time you've seen this, Jack just after all the buildup of Dick getting there and him to just get axed in seconds is jarring and
It is.
completely not what you expected from the tropes.
Yeah, and a really good what I like about it is it's both a good jump scare and also the lead into that part of the score is that you get the yell from Jack that as he comes around the corner, and then it just launches into the fucking like score, right? That rapid like fucking oh shit's going down score.
Yeah, coupled
Um,
with Dick screaming and Danny screaming because he's feeling Dick's pain because he's connected to him. Like shit.
yeah, no, oh yeah, and then I actually did write down on that note about when he's seeing the ghost. I put music when he witnesses the man dog blowjob.
Man Dog Blowjob. That's a great band name.
Yeah, which for those who are wondering, no, there's not an actual dog blowing a man. There's a guy in a dog suit blowing a man.
I think,
Classy.
I think it's a bear suit.
Or a bear suit. Either way, it's a really weird scene. And it
And no
happens
one's
out of
arguing
fucking
that.
nowhere. Yeah, it happens out of fucking nowhere. But like when she sees that in the zoom in to the music picking up and the nonchalant, we've seen plenty of scary movies, and it's one thing when the ghost like looks and does its scary thing, but them to just kind of look at her like, "Yo, what are you looking at? We're being intimate here. Or privacy, please." There's something insanely more creepy about that. The way they just kind of look at her.
There's that, and there's something also creepier about it being like a dude in a weird bear fursuit, and then like a regular dude in like, you know, a tuxedo and tails. Like normal dude, just like, excuse me, I'm we're doing something here. Like just
Excuse me, I am receiving. Could you go away?
pardon me. I believe my penis is in your mouth, sir. Like just it's weird and it is unnerving, especially since they don't tell you what the fuck that is. It's just a weird image. My one letterbox review I didn't take, but I thought about it. I had a funnier one in the same context. It was Winnie the Pooh blows a guy.
Look, I'm just gonna say it now. If Free and the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, god damn it, doesn't have a scene like this, it's a bad movie. Not that the first one's a fucking work of art. Fuck, I hate that movie.
I don't think I need to see Winnie the Pooh, you know, stick Tigger's giggle stick in his honey pot. I don't think I need to see that.
When you put it that way, I absolutely need to see it.
Oh boy. That's all I have for the music. It's a great score, very unnerving. But a lot of the beats are repeated throughout the movie. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh, you want to move to line?
Ooh. Oh god, this one. You know what? Yeah, yeah. I was like, dude, minor scenes I could go on because I have
Yeah.
so much.
We'll end proper with scene. Um, all of mine actually come from the same scene.
Son of a bitch. It's fine.
Uh,
I'll fucking pull my weight again. It's fine.
well, I'll start out with one that wasn't in that scene. It's 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 when Grady, Delbert Grady, which I always thought was weird that Ullman called him Charles Grady, but he's Delbert Grady here. It's like, what the hell is this guy's name? Maybe Ullman just didn't remember it as well as he thought he did.
You probably didn't. It's probably sort of was past now and he forgot.
True. But when Grady's telling him, your son is attempting to bring an outside party, and Jack just,
Oh,
I'm not gonna throw
don't
out the N
say the
word.
word.
It's weird that we get three N words in a row.
I
But
forgot. Dude, it's actually been a minute since I've seen The Shining. So I was like watching it and I was like, they said it, I was like, oh, I forgot about
then
that.
it kind of made me laugh that Jack's response is like, "What, an N word?" like
Yeah.
like just casually, like, Jesus, Jack. I knew you were crazy. Didn't think you were a bad person.
And then Grady to continue the string goes, yes, and I'm like, stop saying the word.
But that wasn't the line I was picking. That would be weird. It was he's Grady tells him about Danny, and Jack just gets this very like grating his teeth kind of look, and he's just like, he is a very willful boy. And I'm like, oh boy. That's I don't like how you said that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the way he delivered that was like, okay, that's weird. Why would you say it like that?
Yeah. Like
I'm
that's
not
what you say
gonna
about your kid right before you beat the shit out of them.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna beat the show. That's good. I'm gonna lie, I thought you had a scene when like Jack's like trying to tell him what he did. Grady, you killed your two daughters and your wife and shot yourself, and then the look he gives him like, come on now.
Like you blew your brains out. Yeah. He's looking at him like, I know I got you. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
it's so weird.
it's so weird. I'm like, Jesus, okay. Um, all right. Oh God, which line do I pick first? Oh Jesus, I wrote quite a bit. You know what? I'll start simple. Start simple. And I referenced the scene earlier with the one interaction we really see him have with his son before shit goes down in the hotel. In the car when Danny's talking about the Donner Pass, the Donner family, I mean, and when he's like, I really don't think we should be talking about that. Like any concerned mother that doesn't want their what, like 5 or 6 year old talking about fucking cannibalism. Um,
Yeah.
and then Danny, just precociously goes, "It's okay, mom. I saw it on TV." And the line I put was Jack going, "See, it's okay. He saw it on the television."
He hates them both so much.
Yes.
There is so much resentment. Uh
That's when I go like, no, he's not really that loving of a father. He looks like he's just pissed.
I saw that reminded me of a funny meme I saw that I saved. It was a kid talking to Santa. He's like, Santa, what's the story of your reindeer names? And Santa goes, I named them after memories, like Prancer frolicking through the snow. And the kid goes, what about Donner? And Santa gets a really dark grip, like dark look on his face and goes, the year was 1847. Snowfall attracted us in the Sierra Nevada. Like, shit.
Dear
That's
God.
that's hardcore for a reindeer. Goddamn. But yeah, I do love that. Just like they're not even at the hotel yet, and already he's like, I don't like these people bothering me. Why can't she just shut up?
Just be quiet, God damn it.
That's a long drive. This is like a 3.5 hour drive to get there. I remember they mentioned that. So
Yeah.
how tense was that car?
Just the whole time. Meanwhile, Wendy's just la 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 la, try to make it happy.
When I'm pissed off, nothing pisses me off more than people trying to stop me from being pissed off.
Oh, it's the worst.
Ah,
I
when
and not
somebody
like
like accuses
Wendy.
you of being like, oh, he's moody, he's grumpy, I'm like, well, now you're the problem.
Yeah. Not like Wendy. She's legit. I think legitimately trying to fucking like be like, Jack, come on. Like, we're just driving.
I know.
It's okay. Like, but yeah, that shit where it's like, oh, or someone just woke up on the bad side of the bed. Well, I'm about to fucking beat you on the bad side of the bed. How's that sound? Because now I'm angry more.
Oh boy. Um, so the rest of my lines all come from the scene of Jack at the bar talking to Lloyd.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. That was a good scene.
Just from the opening. He goes into there, he's upset because Wendy's accused him of attacking Danny, which he didn't do, but he doesn't have a lot of ammo to defend himself with. I love he just walks into the ballroom like he's kind of like freaking out. It's it's weird. And
Really, it's very weird. I like that. What I wouldn't do for goddamn drink right now.
I'd sell my soul for a glass of beer. And then that's when, of course, Lloyd
That's when the
shows up
ghost went, and we got the invitation, boys. Let us come right on in.
and he just looks right at the camera and he goes, Hi, Lloyd. A little slow tonight, isn't it? And then cackles into the camera. And it's one of my favorite, like, I feel like that's the scene where it's like, yeah, where Tim Burton was like, I want Jack Nicholson to play my Joker. Like
Oh yeah.
that laugh because it's unnerving and it's pure evil. He might not even realize it's pure evil, but it's in there.
Oh, it's in there. I love that specific part of this has become immortal. Like you see it all the time when you see advertisements for the movie. It's him saying that and then doing the laugh.
Oh yeah. Um yeah, I love that. He gets the drink. Well, he orders bourbon and then Lloyd gives him Jack Daniels, so that's not exactly right. But
All
whatever.
right. Jack Daniels is a whiskey, not a bourbon, but
You
yes.
know, he's a ghost. I can excuse a ghost not knowing their spirits. That
God damn it.
was not intentional. I realized it as I was saying it. Well, he's staring at the drink and he says, Here's to 5 miserable months on the wagon and all the irreparable harm it has caused me. What? That's one way to look at your alcoholism. God damn, man. To just be like, the worst thing I've ever done in my life is get sober.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jesus. God, dude, no, this whole fucking speech, man. And like when he talks about what he finally gives his side of the damn story to what happened that day. With his, he goes, I love the little guy. I do. I love him. He goes, but I came home, a little shit had my papers all over the place, and I just snapped. I didn't mean to hurt him. I just grabbed him to get him out of there, like a father does. Just did it a little too hard. It's been 3 goddamn years.
Well, you're clearly sorry about it, Jack. Like, yeah, I love that, when he starts telling that story. I love the little son of a bitch. Like, that's so he's just so the way he talks about his son is so eerie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, do you love him or like I do you love the ideal of having a son right now?
The fact that he refers to his wife as the sperm bank upstairs. It's like, Jesus, dude, you hate everything about yourself and you're blaming everyone but yourself for your problems.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's absolutely doing that. I I actually have some Jack Nicholson lines myself.
Yeah.
Two different scenes, both directed at Wendy. I don't have the full speech right now, but the scene when she walks in and he's like, when you hear me do this, and he taps on the thing, he's like, that means I'm working. And when you're bothering me, I don't get work. But what I put it specifically was when he's telling her to leave. And he's like, "Can you do that? Can you leave me alone?" And he does the little, "Fine. Why don't you start right now and get the fuck out of here?" I love how he ends that. I'm like, Jesus, Jack.
It's even better when you find out later what he's been writing this whole time. Like, she was not interrupting anything important.
No, not at all. I. It's like, yeah, when you find out later, like, okay, she could have interrupted you. You want that? You want that? Okay. The other one I have also directed at Wendy, and I swear to God, this is not because I hate the character of Wendy. I just really like this line delivery, and it's towards the end when she's the the 127 take fucking scene, and she's stringing the thing, and he just goes, "I'm not going to hurt you, Wendy, darling, light of my life. I'm not going to hurt you. If you let me finish my sentence, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm going to bash your brains in. Bash them right the fuck in." Fucking dude, I that is terrifying to me to say like I'm not going to hurt you. I'm going to fucking kill you.
It's it's the commitment, it's the performance. It for me though, that entire scene, Jack Nicholson doesn't blink. Like, that's what freaks me out more than anything. It's the focus he's got. I,
Dude,
oof.
oh, the moment when he comes in, he's like, "Do you know what it's like to be on a deadline? Do you have any idea?" And like he just starts going off on her, and like it's just from like the typewriter to the stairs when we get to the that part because I quote that all the time when people like I was trying to be like, "I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to bash your fucking brains in." Be like, "Jesus!" I'm like, "Oh, it's a Shining reference. You obviously don't get my humor on my movie references." Um, but it's just like, yeah, I mean, the scene in general is great. That part of the line delivery I like the most. But yeah, the moment he just comes on, she's like you said, she sees what he wrote and he just launches in there. It's like, oh boy. And I'm like, Wendy, you need to get out of there. He's he's going to kill you. You need to go.
Yeah. It's that's pretty much the moment where everything turns for the worst and there's no going back. Uh and yeah, people forget Jack had to do that scene 127 times too.
I can't imagine how tiring it'd have to be to do that scene.
Ugh. Yeah, and it's perfect. It's so unnerving. Uh I there's all, of course there's, here's Johnny. There's the famous
Yeah.
line.
Or
Uh
the hello, Danny, come play with us
I
forever and ever and ever.
Great party, isn't it? I love that. Uh the one line I always tend to that I tend to quote is Jack just screaming, "Danny! Danny boy!"
Hey!
And then when it just turns into like, "Arr!" Like when he's in the hedge maze just freezing to death. Like,
God, I loved in Doctor Sleep.
Hmm.
Again, a great sequel. Some people. Um, I I loved in Doctor Sleep how fucking Ewan McGregor. Yeah, I had to think for a second. I was like, I hope I didn't fuck that up since I've been fucking up other things. He recreated the fucking limp when he got like possessed by all the spirits,
Yeah.
and he was doing the limp and everything. And I was like, dude, oh, I was like, yes,
Yeah, I like a certain amount of fan service, and I thought that that movie delivered. I like the story, but I also thought like when the music started playing as they drive up that same drive, I was like, oh fuck, we're back. It's the Overlook.
yeah.
You got chills.
Oh, the music, the absolute fear you can see in Danny's face of like, I don't want to come back to this place.
Yeah, when he's when he's like, you're gonna wait out here, and she's like, you're not waiting with me. He's like, no, I have to wake it up. Like, Jesus.
Yeah. And you just see all the ghosts. They're just so happy to see him, not for good reasons.
I love whenever he would walk into a room, the lights would just turn on. They're like, the hotel is so happy to see him.
Yeah, the hotel's like, oh, Danny, you're back.
And then when the ghosts just like overwhelm Rose and she's just terrified, that was so good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then when they realize, wait, that's not Danny. Danny.
Danny's just like, why didn't he? That was his moment to get up and leave.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, why are you watching? You know when they're done, they're coming for you. They have been wanting you for years.
Yeah, we're gonna one day we'll do a full episode on Doctor Sleep and just go into that proper.
And how good it is, yes.
Um, Another Jack and Lloyd line I love. It's Lloyd, Jack's clearly Lloyd's supposed to be like the bartender from back home or something.
Yeah, I got the idea that it was his old bartender, probably that he was the hotel was manifesting.
Yeah. Jack just says, I like you, Lloyd. I always liked you. You were always the best of them. Best goddamn bartender from Timbuktu to Portland, Maine, or Portland, Oregon, for that matter. I love it. And like randomly, we just like white man's burden, Lloyd. Like, what the fuck is he even talking about?
Yeah, you get the they lay down some lines that he may have been a little bit racist. And it's also like this film came out in the 80s.
I mean, he casually just like,
Probably some
what? There's an
other-
N-word coming? Like, yeah, he's racist.
Yeah, I was like, it's 1980. Let's be honest, there's still some lingering post-civil rights effects in some people.
Well, there's another theory about this movie is that this movie's like an allegory for Native American genocide because he said white man's burden.
Okay. All right.
There's more than that, but I don't know. I'm all for fan theories, but it has to make sense.
It does. And again, like I said, I love Stanley Kubrick. I think he is, it reminds me of a fucking psychopath. Generally, one of the greatest filmmakers I've ever lived.
Hmm.
Love his movies, including Strangelove or Strange, whatever you want to call it.
Strangelove, which is what everyone has ever
Strangelove.
called it.
I won't call it Strange to see how many people just latch on now at this point. Um, but with that said, not every fucking thing he did in a movie had a goddamn meaning to it.
Yeah. Do you know how many people would have had to keep that secret if Kubrick had filmed the moon landing, including like notable American heroes and soldiers and government people? Have you ever tried to like, have you ever had a secret that like more than three people kept for any amount of time? It's not possible.
Yeah. We saw how badly the government kept the secret of aliens around till the point they finally fucking admitted, yes, there are UFOs, absolutely are real, and we just went, yeah, we know. Next.
We've lost so
So
much faith in the government that the government can admit that they have verified UFOs, and we're like, bullshit, fuck you. Next story.
yeah, bullshit. And they're just like, wait, but you were saying bullshit that there weren't, and now we're saying bullshit that there is.
Yeah. What have you done for me lately, Gov? What if there are aliens and they land? What are they going to do? Tank the economy? Destroy the environment? Like, what? We beat them to it.
Do it.
What could they possibly do?
Winning. Winning.
Yeah. Independence Day happens. What changes? That's where we're at. Unfortunate, but it's true. Uh,
Very true.
any other lines you want to shout before we move on to scene?
No, no, I'm ready. I'm ready to move on. I'll move on to scene.
Okay. Um, for me, like the best scene of the movie is when Wendy finds the manuscript and realizes exactly what's been going on this entire time. It
From that, I thought you were gonna be like when Manny sees that blowjob, or when Wendy sees that blowjob, I was really like, "How's that the best scene?"
it is love, my friend. It's love. No.
When two people really love each other,
One will dress up as a bear, the other one will put on their finest tux. They will leave the door open.
as they fillet each other,
Mutual. They're sharing.
sharing.
God damn it. But yeah, when Wendy walks into the room and this giant ream of paper that all have the phrase "all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy" written over and over and over again on like 400 or 500 pieces of paper. He's been
Ugh.
writing this the entire movie. You think it's his play that he's there to work on, that he's doesn't want to be interrupted for. He's just been losing his mind since he walked into that hotel. There's been no moment of clarity. He's been nuts from day one.
Yep. The big reveal of like, oh shit, okay, they have been fucked the moment they step through that door.
Yep. And then Jack walks in and is like, "How do you like it?" And Wendy freaks out, understandably, realizing her husband is gone. Whoever this man is, it ain't him.
Yeah, it's. I mean, her husband was barely there to begin with,
Yeah.
and now he's completely gone.
She ain't exactly losing, fucking Phil from Modern Family here. Like this is, you know, he was a drunk alcoholic abuser who is now a drunk alcoholic abusive killer. So
He wasn't a goofy dad with his hilarious mix-ups. He was an abusive alcoholic that stopped drinking,
yeah, you traded a punch to the face for a kick to the face.
pretty much, and then to straight up wanting to kill you. So you know that those are real life choices.
Yeah, Wendy.
For me, the crown jewel scene from since I was a kid and I first watched this damn movie to now watching it now at the age of 31 has been when Jack has to go investigate the room 237 after Danny has his big moment and we finally get that scene where at first it's this beautiful nude woman, late 70s, early 80s bush and all, getting out of the bathtub, walking towards Jack. Jack clearly showing that if he wanted to be unfaithful, he would do it in a heartbeat. Um,
Freaking like lustful like glare he's given her is so creepy.
the weird Jack Nicholson lust look he gives is honestly kind of unnerving. And look, I'm sure it was just for the movie because if anyone knows anything about Jack Nicholson, the guy was a notorious fucking um bachelor like playboy. Like he was dating young for years because it was Jack Nicholson could just pull like that.
He almost, dude, in his like 60s or 70s, he almost pulled Jennifer Lawrence at the Oscars.
Yeah, she almost said yes. Like she was actually quite turned on by the fact that he thought she was getting hit on.
I haven't heard nobody's Me Too'd Jack Nicholson. Like everyone who's dated him, apparently it was fine. He's a gentleman.
Yeah, apparently he was a gentleman, and I'm going to assume a great lover to these women because yeah, they all seemed very happy.
I
So
will I
good
will
for you,
join you in
Jack.
assuming Jack Nicholson is a great lover.
Yes, so good for Jack. Um, I would hope that the lustful stare we get in the movie is not what he was giving these ladies in real life because it's weird. Um, but yeah, like, dude, if Jack Torrance could cheat, he would because like this ghost lady comes up to him and with no hesitation they start making out. And I'm like, well, okay, we know if he had a choice, he'd just be like, hey, shut the door. I don't want Wendy to see. Jesus. Um, but then we get the reveal that has scarred me since I was a child, and also why I'm very wary of shower curtains now. And as we get the reveal that this lady is old, decrepit, and haunting to look at. And the music picks up, she does that laugh, and he is just horrified and is trying to get out of the room as fast as he can. And yeah, it's and I love what later with Wendy, he's like, I didn't say anything. Like he is like, nope. And yeah, it's a great scene. It's a great centerpiece to the film, if you will. Obviously, it's based off the room Stephen King stayed in. We had an experience that we talked about. And yeah, it's a fucking the movie teases you so much with like shit's going down. It's getting weird. And then this scene happens and you're like, okay, well then, here we are.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a freaky out of nowhere scene that really just you don't ever get it. There's no build up to it. There's no explanation to it. They never go back in there. It's just what the fuck was that? Yeah.
Yeah. I love and dude, the book, I remember the book, fucking God, the hype the book did for this fucking room. I remember reading the book and then it being this thing of like, you don't go in that room. No one goes in that room. Bad things have happened in that room. Danny, we get into his thoughts and he's terrified of that room. I remember reading that scene in the book, just being like, oh my fucking God. I mean, goosebumps thinking about when I read it. And yeah, they did a really good job for a film that does is so adamant about not adapting King's novel. They did it. They did this scene good. They really did this scene good.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. There certain scenes in the movie or in the book I wish had gotten into the movie, like the beehive sequence uh was creepy. Like Jack finds an old beehive, uh there's no bees in there, gives it to Danny, and then later a bunch of bees show up in the hive because the hotel can manifest bees. And
Oh yeah, yeah,
it all starts stinging, and that just gives Jack a little bit, Wendy has a little bit more of like, what the hell? You said it was safe. So it plants the seeds for distrust.
yeah.
That's in the miniseries. Made it in there. Uh,
Well, yeah. King wrote the miniseries, so
didn't leave anything
included.
out.
Yeah.
4.5 hours. Um, yeah. I love the whole chase through the hotel with Jack and the axe and just Daddy. I love that, and the way they trick him in the hedge maze.
Oh,
Uh,
it's perfect.
or the way Danny tricked him. Yeah, and it just shows me like the entire movie. Jack Torrance, no matter what he has to do, is a colossal fuck up. Even to the
Oh yeah,
ghosts.
absolutely.
Even to the ghosts. Like he can't even kill one family. Can't do it.
I would love if like the ghosts after this just go, wow, we really put our faith in the wrong guy. Wow, we thought with this one we suck.
I mean, now he died in the hotel, so I'm assuming he's one of the ghosts of the hotel now, as we see in Doctor Sleep.
They just they just berate him. They're like, dude, we gave you one job. We needed you to do one thing.
I imagine it's a lot like Mean Girls, where like, all the ghosts will sit at like the dining table and just tell Jack, like, you can't sit with us.
But you guys told me, yeah, well, we also thought you were going to take care of that problem, now didn't we?
Yeah, and look,
Somehow,
we got nothing to eat because we were gonna have your son, and now we don't. So thank you so much for that.
yeah. Thanks, Jack. It was snowing. You're the only ones up here. How did you fuck that one up?
She was in the bathroom alone with no way out. You were at the door with an axe, and she's alive. Way to go.
It's fine. Hopefully, Danny just knows we're so after him. He'll come back years later, but you didn't help, you fuck.
I hope it got personal. I really do.
I really do too. The other scene, actually, the scene we mentioned earlier where Danny goes to get his toy and Jack's actually awake. And he has that scene where he's like, I love you, Danny. I love you more than anything else in the whole world. And I would never do anything to hurt you, ever. You know that, don't you? That whole scene is fucking creepy. And what I noticed is when he says the ever thing, he repeats it like the fucking twins. I never caught that until this viewing. And I was like, oh, that's
Yeah,
actually creepy.
that's a good touch. Yeah. Um, sorry, my theater just added screenings of Late Night with the Devil that I am now grabbing before people in Austin lose their fucking minds. Okay.
Asshole.
Um,
Fuck you.
harsh.
It's because
I
I can't find a screening near me. Continue.
Oh, that's why I thought you were mad that I was distracted. It's like, so it's not that, it's that I'm gonna see a horror movie before you.
Yes.
That irks you every time. I know it. Well, all right. I'm good with scene. Are you good, or do you got anything else you want to shout before we move on?
I put Jack kills Dick. That's what I put first scene.
Don't get that dick, Halloran.
Um, I do want to mention that so legit. Obviously, I wasn't going to repeat the line because we've heard the line ad nauseum from the Twin Girls. I want to talk about just how really well done, and I really appreciate it on this viewing that fucking scare is because this Kubrick spends so much time of just shots of us watching Danny ride his bike around this fucking hotel.
Mhm.
So we see it so much, he lulls you. Eventually, you're like, okay, clearly nothing's going to happen. I'm just going to keep watching this kid ride a bike, whatever. And then we get to the scene, no music. He just rounds the fucking corner. There's these two twin girls that shouldn't be there standing at the end of the fucking hallway, and Danny's just staring. I'm like, man, kid, I would have fucking screamed like a girl and ran. If that was me, I'd be like, oh god, no, fuck no, 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 no,
I
not.
saw a funny GIF of Danny rides his bike, his big wheel into the hallway, sees the girls, immediately backtracks and runs and like backs up. Like the GIF is reversed, so he's just like fuck that and backs up. It was really funny. I also saw a fan edited trailer of this movie to make it look like a family comedy called Shining, where like Jack is a writer looking for a project, and Danny doesn't have a father figure, and they meet and they start bonding, and it's like, hey, things do work out sometimes. It was hilarious. I'll send you the link.
Send me that link. God damn it.
It is all music and editing can change a horror movie and turn it into like a Nickelodeon comedy. Like it's
Oh,
really
yeah, real quick too.
yeah, fucking awesome. Uh, I also just got imaginary tickets. We got it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to shout that. I just think that's a really well crafted scare because like it doesn't do the cheap jump scare route of like do a quick noise to scare them. It's lull you into that sense of security of like, okay, I have seen like at least 10 minutes now interspersed throughout the film, mind you, not like 10 solid minutes. This is not Skinamarink, not 10 solid minutes of this shit. But interspersed of him just like going around on the trike,
Yeah.
and then you finally get it, and you're like, oh Jesus, what they want? They're not supposed to be here. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, it's perfect. I love the noise of like, the wheel on the wooden floor and then the carpet and then the wooden floor and then the carpet. Like the sound design of this movie does not get enough credit.
No, it does. It's such good sound design. Yeah, I agree.
Uh with that, let's take a look at what Letterboxd has to say on our final segment, What's in the Box?
What's in the fucking box? Give me the gun.
The Shining has a 4.2 out of 5 on Letterboxd because this is one of the rare unions of horror fans and film bros that everybody agrees is pretty fucking good. Yeah.
Finally, the horror fans aren't getting beat up by the film bros.
Y'all don't get a lot of things to agree on. So take the armistice when you can get it.
You take the win when you can, man.
I have 4 reviews here, all positive because all the negative ones were just petty. No funny ones, just like boo, stupid, boring. Bleh. So I don't do that. That's what they are to me, basically. I see them as like kindergartners like on the playground who are like, he took my ball and then he didn't give it back, and I don't want to. That's all it is to me.
Or Stanley Kubrick really hating a movie he's watching in the movie theater.
Boo, thunk.
He starts to start doing it. Moo, I just really don't.
He pulls a paperback book out of his bucket of popcorn and just chucks it at the theater. Like, the person he's with is like, how did you even? They know me.
I know.
They know what I want.
I thought I know if he always has a book ready to throw.
Yeah, some people carry a gun, some people carry a knife. Kubrick carries a backpack full of paperback books.
If anyone wants to get an idea of how crazy this guy is, watch the epic rap battle that he's in.
I love that one. That might be my favorite one.
Honestly, I was dying hysterically when Michael Bay comes in and goes, "Money, motherfucker!"
Oh boy.
I was dying.
All right, all right. So here's the reviews. The last one is fucking gold.
Oh, yeah, wait, before you read it real quick, have you seen the new epic rap battle that is fucking Godzilla versus Kong?
I've watched it like 3 times.
It was so good.
They are so fucking talented, those guys. Like really.
Whew, okay. Whew.
Okay, this one's from Eric Hatch. A tuxedo-clad man with a furry fetish has the best night of his life rudely interrupted by a marital dispute. 5 stars. That is one way to describe The Shining.
Just want to describe that scene. If you had watching a ghost fillet another ghost on your bingo card for this movie, well, you're good at bingo.
I would love a short film where it's a guy who like is about to hook up with somebody at a party and he's like they're in the bathroom getting like cleaned up for the act and he's sitting on the bed like I don't know about this. I've never done this before. Should I do this? I don't even know if I love them. Like just like really second guessing thing. Guy comes out of the bathroom, it's the dude in the bear costume and he like gets on his knees and then the door opens and you see Wendy like in the doorway and he's just like what the hell is that? Like he's not even like, just that whole scene from that guy's perspective would be fascinating.
He's like, who the fuck are you?
Close the door, please. Occupied.
Literally was about to happen. Can we close the door?
The bear's like, well, that was weird. We still doing this?
Usually I'm like, I'm still hard, right? Go on now.
Money's on the table over there. We're not done here.
Yeah. Last I checked, I have not even come close to finishing.
This porridge is too hot. Oh boy. This next one's I got you with that one. This is from Lub Chansky.
That was really good.
I know. I feel like I would have had a nicer time at the hotel. Writing isn't that hard, and I love my wife. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, it is kind of funny. For some people, for some couples, this would be like the experience of a lifetime, like almost like a romantic sexual getaway, right? Like we have a whole place to ourselves. Oh, yeah, this would be great. But then for some couples like this, it's hell on earth.
Right. Yeah. This one's from Adam Bolt. My regular contribution to anything is Dick Halloran showing up to the Overlook. he, he is useless in this story. Let's all admit that.
Yeah, he's a better writing character in the book. In the story, he is here to tell Danny and really the audience the entire title of the movie, and then be like, "And I'll see you later. Next time you'll see me, I'll be in my bedroom with these fucking frames of ladies on my wall because I'm watching something on TV, and I gotta get to the hotel and then I die."
Yeah, way to help out there, Dick. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe don't announce yourself when you walk into a situation where you know that people are in danger. Maybe just, take cover somewhere and figure things out. Maybe contact Danny psychically and be like, "What's the deal?" And Danny can be like, "My dad's trying to kill us. Hide."
Right, he knows you're here.
Assess, Dick. Assess. His last one's from Todd Gaines, who has quite the rep on Letterboxd for his outrageous reviews. And he sums up The Shining in a pretty big paragraph of just absolute nonsense. I love this.
Let's hear it.
Jack, Wendy, and Danny spending the winter at the Overlook Hotel. The interview. Fucking Tony. Cabin fucking fever. Blood. Closing day. High elevation. Cannibals, Darts, Twins, The Gold Room, fucking Dick, Danny Loves Ketchup, Tang, The Shine, Fuck You, Room 237, Power fucking Wheels, A Typewriter, Wall Ball, Mini Maze, Jack the Grouch, Jack Sweater, High-Tech Audio Equipment, Over, The Way Danny Closes His Eyes, Mickey Mouse, Awesome Fucking Carpet, Losing Your Fucking Mind, Jack's Fucking Eyes, Jack's Fucking Laugh, Lloyd's Wise Words, A Confession, Foxy Paintings, Tits in the Water, Fuck You Mirror, Olive Fucking Oil, Jeeves, Red Red Rum, The Trance, A Jet Plane, Rocky's Corner Man, Roadrunner, Louisville Slugger, Dull Fucking Jack, Stairs, Trapped, Snow, A Big Ass Knife, Dyslexia, Paul Bunyan's Axe, The Big Fucking Fucking Bad Fucking Wolf. An Ed McMahon-esque moment, Wilfred's Dad, Chopped Scatman, Pursuit, Skulls and Bones, Reunion, Jack Frost, A Picture is Worth 1,000 Words, Jack Plays Jack Like Only Jack Can, Little Danny should have received an Academy Award nomination, fantastic directing for Mr. Kubrick, this makes most modern atmospheric horror look like utter fucking shit.
What the fuck? Are his reviews like that?
Most of them, yes. I started focusing on this guy during a failed Star Wars project we were going to do that I ended up not releasing. But this guy's reviews are just amazing. And most of his reviews are fucking summaries in his very unique way, and I'm going to try to find more for the future.
Oh my God, that was beautiful.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, that is our show. Thanks for listening, everybody. If you like what we do, feel free to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and X at Filmgazm Productions. If you want to suggest films for us to check out, you can email us at filmgazm@gmail.com or send us a message through the socials. Check out our Letterboxd accounts for daily reviews. You can find me at Connor95, and in my friends list, you can find the rest of the team. Check out our website, filmgazm.com, where I have a link to my Letterboxd if you want to read reviews. You can also find articles, trailers of upcoming films, and every episode of our show. All 690. 691 now. If you'd like to become a monthly donor to Filmgazm Productions, feel free to click on the link in the episode description. From there, click on Support This Podcast. You can choose to donate $1 a month, $5 a month, or $10 a month, and all donations go right back into the show. We greatly appreciate it. Thanks to the entire Filmgazm team for their contributions to the show. I mean that more than ever. Thanks to Cooley Cow for our awesome theme music. Thanks to you for checking out our show. These past 5 years have been insanely rewarding for me. I've brought together a fantastic group of film buffs who have become my closest friends. We've grown as film fans, tried out different things, some of which worked, others didn't, and that's okay. I wouldn't change a thing. I love doing this, and I plan to continue as long as it's still fun, and it certainly is. So thank you. This all started with me and you, so thank you.
You're welcome. For me being, I'm kidding. No, it's been a ride. It's not the only anniversary we'll be celebrating. This year is another big one. I don't want to ruin it yet. I know we're planning something for it as well. But yeah, it's been fun, and yeah, we don't have we're not huge, subscriber base and making millions off this. It's just a fun thing we do that we really enjoy. Chance for me to, sometimes in a lot of cases, dust off films I just haven't seen in a few years. Sometimes watch stuff I haven't seen at all. And talk about it with friends that actually are like film buffs like me, actually get what the hell we're talking about. No offense to when I talk to people outside of this about movies, but sometimes it's kind of annoying because they're more casual compared to like myself.
Dude, my favorite thing about this is that I don't have to constantly explain what I'm talking about. You guys just know what I'm talking about.
Yes, it's rewarding.
Yeah, that feels good.
Yeah, so it's been fun, and it's started with a website, and here we are now. So it's great. It's been a fun ride.
Oh yeah, here's to 5 more years, and then we're done. Never doing this again. No.
Just gonna disappear off the face of the earth.
In 2029, this fucking shit is over. No, I'm just kidding. Next week, we dig into some found footage with the spooky 2014 flick As Above, So Below. An archaeologist is hot on the trail of the Philosopher's Stone, which she believes is located somewhere in the Paris catacombs. As her and her team venture deeper into the bowels of the earth, they encounter dark forces not of this world. It's a super creepy, underrated film that I'm looking forward to revisiting. I've seen this once before, back when Austin and I did it on the old version of the show, and I had no expectations. I was actually pretty blown away by how creepy this was.
Yeah, I'm honest, I've seen it, like, it's been a few years since I've seen it. I remember thinking it was better than a lot of people made it out to be when it came out.
Yeah.
But I'd have to rewatch it. It's been a few years.
Yeah, I'm excited to revisit it. In the meantime, remember, all work and no play makes one a dull boy. And don't agree to spend half a year in an isolated haunted hotel with your resentful alcoholic husband and your psychically gifted little boy. Maybe just don't do that. Take it easy, keep watching movies, and we will see you next time.